Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Castaway Anime. I'm your host, Neon Manta,
And I'm Crunchy Bagels.
and we're coming back with a special pseudo-anniversary episode of the podcast. It started with the summer 2021 seasonal, and we've come nearly a whole year later, full circle, to summer 2022, and this time, we're joined by two guests. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hey everyone, I'm the Great Alstani, or Austin if you just want to call me that.
Hello, I'm Kyosable or Lu, whatever you guys want to say.
And what do you guys do?
Well, we both make videos about anime on YouTube.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yeah.
We are united by a common cause to fill the world with as much degeneracy and wasted time as possible.
Yes.
Factual information.
Pretty much.
Just like the purpose of this podcast, where we're gonna go over every new show of the summer 2022 season, let you know what's hot and what's not. And remember, if you enjoy the podcast, please be sure to hit the like button, head on down to the comments to let us know what you think of the show, and finally subscribe to the channel for more episodes of Castaway Anime and other videos.
Alright.
So real quick, what are y'all's thoughts on just the season on the whole, its quality compared to other anime seasons, or do you really watch all that much seasonal shows?
I'm not too big into seasonal anime, but for this season, all I can say is that I'm seeing a lot of second seasons of stuff, mainly for the first 5, and then I don't know. I say some of it's pretty lacking. Mainly it's a lot of horny on main for me that I've seen recently, and then good amount of mid shows.
Literally what he said.
Yeah, it's definitely a season 2 kind of season.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the biggest shows this season are Made in Abyss Season 2
That
and
slaps.
Rent a Girlfriend Season 2.
That doesn't
as far as
slap.
I can tell.
Yeah.
Glad we agree. And then in terms of actual shows, I'd say this was probably on the lesser end for all the seasons of anime I've watched. You know, summer, like last summer season, and I think spring of this year, were of the seasons I've watched for this podcast, probably the best ones. And then this is, I wouldn't say it's as bad as winter, but it's almost.
Yeah.
It's getting there. So
Close.
I feel
guess
like
so.
winter hit bigger highs, but also hit bigger lows. And
Those
this one's
are-
a little more
yeah,
consistent,
those are,
if not a little low quality, though.
Yeah.
those are my exact thoughts on this season on the whole, and it's probably the most frustrating part about it because of this block. Granted, I haven't seen both blocks of episodes, but of this block that we're covering in the first episode of the podcast, there's only one show that I'd consider to be truly great and worth definitely staying on top of, whereas the rest of them, the best they get is maybe a 6 out of 10.
What would you say? What would that
What?
be? What one would that be?
Oh yeah.
The Great Show.
The Great. What one?
Are you about to
I
set
think-
up a top tier transition into the first show? that
I
we're
think we
covering?
all agree that great show is Yofukashi no Uta, known in English as Call of the Night, which I
Definitely.
actually have the first volume of the manga for, but I haven't actually read it. So this is my first exposure to this manga.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
we have a friend that talks about it all the time. Was hyping
Yeah.
it up, and seeing it now, I can see why he likes it so much. You know.
It was pretty
So
good
who
show.
wants to do
It's definitely. Oh, I'll go ahead and take it. I've got a little background knowledge on this one. In case y'all didn't know, this is from the author of Dagashi Kashi, that anime about candy.
Yep.
And the most striking thing about it are the character designs. The author, I don't have his name on hand right now, but he tends to draw his characters with dead fish eyes and or crazy swirly swoopy eyes, the main girl, the main candy girl from Dagashi Kashi, and Nazuna, the vampire girl from this show. In fact, Nazuna just kind of looks like if you crossed Hotaru, the candy girl from Dagashi Kashi, with Himiko Toga from My Hero.
Yeah, honestly, and I think both of the main male protagonists both look the same from both animes too.
Oh yeah, they're pretty much identical. There's the one, I don't think she's like shown up in the show proper yet, but like you could see in the opening this brown-haired girl in a schoolgirl uniform. She looks like exactly one-to-one to a new character they introduced in the second season of Dagashi Kashi. This brown-haired girl.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say the character designs are incredibly strong for this show. They were my favorite designs of the season, and something that I missed from a lot of the less good shows that we'll get to later. Just having such like character designs with such charm to them. They immediately made me connect with the characters more because, you know, if I like the design, I want to like the character.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like
Yeah,
that's another big thing with me. Like, you know, if I see like a design or like I'm like, oh okay, you know, I'll be more interested in like looking into like that character or like, you know, trying to like, you know, understand him a bit more.
Like the characterization in the show so far isn't like absolutely amazing. You know, it's like very passable, very good, but it's the designs that really make me want to stay intrigued in these characters, as well as the, you know, good writing.
I feel like that's what makes it like pop out. Like it feels so simplistic and everything, especially that it's like at nighttime where you don't see much other than lights. You don't get to see like specific things. I think it adds.
I guess we're sort of avoiding the plot recap. So Neon, you said you wanted to do that?
Yeah, the the Call of the Night, what makes it stand out more from Dagashi Kashi is that Dagashi Kashi, it felt like one of those hobby manga where the author just had a passion for a particular subject matter and want to express it through a medium like manga. You know, sort of like how all these different kinds of hobby shows, like there was that one fishing anime from either like last season or 2 seasons ago, Slow Loop I think it was called. Stuff like how heavy are the dumbbells you lift for working out. Oh, like it's a show of that ilk. But whereas Dagashi Kashi is one of those shows, Call of the Night kind of feels like it's more, I wouldn't say narrative focused, but definitely has more of a story and like a message to convey rather than Dagashi Kashi being like a celebration of just Japanese confectionery.
Oh yeah. Yep, definitely. And I feel like, I don't know, Dagashi Kashi was like alright in my opinion. Like it was like, you know, it's about candy. You can't really do much with that, you know. But
well, here's the thing about Dagashi Kashi though. The show, mediocre.
Very.
Like, nothing really special about it unless you just happen to be a big fan of Japanese candy. The doujins?
Hola?
Actually S tier.
Hola?
So many people are super attracted to the character designs from Dagashi Kashi, and there's this one doujin that has like an ending to it that like people were convinced for the longest time that I saw online was like an actual chapter of Dagashi Kashi because like it would fit in the tone and narrative of the show. The main guy gives Hotaru a ring pop as like a proposal.
Yeah.
And she like cries like happily.
Yeah. I remember that scene. That scene was pretty mad.
And I feel like this show might garner the same level of attraction from artists like that.
I feel like this show was birthed from the author's mind one night when they were pulling an all-nighter for one of their mangas. And they suddenly just got the urge to write an entire manga about their experience of staying up all night in order to write.
While Monogatari was playing in the background.
Also,
there's definitely a real Monogatari influence in the entire show.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, I didn't really notice a Monogatari influence specifically, but I know where you got that from, and I was literally going to compare it to Monogatari in the sense that the shows sort of have the same, in a lot of ways, the same tone and the same feel of like the OST and like the backgrounds. I mean, maybe not as much the background since Monogatari is more about being ridiculously surrealist and nonsensical, whereas this is a little more grounded. It's sort of like making night look as appealing as possible because obviously the show takes place at night. You got to make that look good.
Yeah, it's very, very insomniac propaganda.
Very much so. So
Yeah.
I guess so the show is basically about this dude named Ko, right? And he, some stuff is going on in his life. He's this girl asked him out and he was like, I don't really understand romance, so I'm gonna, turn you down. And then the girl's friends are like, well, why did you turn her down? She was crying, man, you jerk-faced dipwad. And he was like, I'm sorry, man. I just don't understand.
Ace, bro, can't help it.
Yeah. And so ever since that happened, the girls have sort of, they think he's like an asshole for turning her down. Obviously, they're in the wrong in that situation, but Ko, the main character, because he has sort of this inferiority complex, he sort of internalizes that aggression towards him. And even if he logically knows that they're in the wrong for, treating him like shit, he still can't help but feel like he's in the wrong for doing that. And that stress makes him skip school and eventually turn into an insomniac. Another detail about his character is that he has very distant parents. At least that was the implication I got from the first episode, where like he's leaving the house at night for the first time, and he gets a call on his phone, or like, no, I think it was a notification, either a call or a notification. He was like, did my parents find out? And then he looks at it and it's not his parents, and he's like, not in this household. They would, of course they wouldn't figure it out. They're my parents. They don't pay attention to me. He doesn't say it as explicitly as that, but that's sort of the undercurrent, the implication that the show is giving.
I didn't pick up on that vibe at all. I just thought he was trying to... I thought his parents were like strict, if anything. He was trying to like sneak out against their wishes.
That's what I thought as well.
I thought they were distant. I mean, maybe I just... I don't know. Maybe I just didn't pay enough attention. But I thought that scene was sort of setting up that he had distant parents.
I just assumed it was strict because in like most shows or most of like a lot of animes, their parents are like really strict and stuff, or like they're grounded or something happens so they have to sneak out.
Okay.
So I just assumed it would be the same element with that.
I mean, he's sneaking out because of school, I think. Well, yeah, it's not. I think he did. But anyway, that's sort of a minor detail, not really worth getting caught up on. He's walking the streets at night, and he sees this vending machine full of alcohol, and he's like, maybe I should get one. I know I'm underage, I know I'm a minor, but maybe I should get one. And then, bam, vampire next to him. And the
I'm sorry, a little side note. Is it really that easy for a minor to get their hands on alcohol in Japan? Can they just buy it from a vending machine when no one's looking?
Bro, I mean,
wonder.
It's in like the middle of the night. I don't think anyone's going to be looking. If you have the cash, I'm pretty sure you could just, grab it.
Yeah, it was like... I feel like just having alcohol in vending machines is just kind of a logistical nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
Damn, I want to move to Japan.
Shit, bro.
Yeah, so he's confronted by this vampire girl. They have a little powwow. They hang out at a playground, further cementing the Monogatari influence.
Have we just gotten to the point where the second they're talking in a playground, everyone just immediately thinks of Monogatari?
Yeah, literally.
I don't know, that was the only scene from Monogatari I've like retained in my memory. Because I did not care for Bake.
To be fair, much. It is one of the most famous / infamous sort of scenes in the show. So I understand why that would get retained in your memory.
Yeah, so this vampire girl, Nazuna, is... we don't know she's a vampire yet, but she's just hanging around Ko, trying to be like, hey, what are you doing up this late at night? You trying to enjoy the nightlife? And Ko like doesn't know what to make of it. There's this really cute scene where he's like trying to like, get him to see the vibe of the nightlife, and just goes around high-fiving a group of dudes wasted from partying on a bus bench, being like, yo, let's go, bro.
That scene was just absolutely incredible. I had a big goofy smile on my face when I saw that. It was super fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, low-key, I was kind of like laughing my ass off when I saw that shit, because it's like, these people are like, freaking like wasted hammer as shit, and she's just going around like, yay, high fives all around.
And she's basically doing this to show like, hey, the night, it's for having fun. It's for letting loose. That's sort of Nazuna's perspective on night.
Which is
And,
why it's called Call of the
thing.
Night. Crazy, I know.
And another...
This is like... This is the message that I feel like the show is trying to convey the most. It's the line that stuck out to me is like, you gotta stay up until you're satisfied with the day. That's why you develop insomnia, because you're not satisfied, because you feel like you've accomplished nothing, and so you feel like you gotta stay up until you've actually like done something with your day.
That line has also stuck with me a lot. And it's because I kind of do the same thing where it's like, I didn't get any work done today, so I'm going to stay up till 2 a.m. to remedy this. So that sort of stuck with me. It's clearly written by someone who frequently stays up all night.
It's propaganda. He's trying to influence the masses with this insomniac propaganda through the vehicle of a sexy vampire girl.
So you're telling me staying up past 5 a.m. is okay, right?
100%, bro.
According to this show.
I'm a bit of a night owl myself.
Right.
Usually, anything past like 5 a.m. though, I need to sleep by then, or else I'll like actually have nothing. I'll have wasted the next morning because I'll have like gotten up at like 11 a.m.
The next day doesn't start till you sleep, so I'm up all
That
day.
is true. That Minecraft, time travel real quick.
High key.
So after
if there was a way to sleep for 3 hours and get 8 hours of rest, I would be staying up every day.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely.
Sleep.
So after they walk around town a little bit and Nazuna night pills Ko, she brings him to her apartment. And, she's just like, sleep next to me. Come on, it's not weird. Just, you're an insomniac. Get sleep. It'll be comforting. And so instead of trying to seduce Ko, or I mean, I guess she is kind of.
I mean,
but,
low key. I mean,
in a way,
I don't know what you were seeing there, but what I saw, I was like, whoa, we getting a little spicy here.
I mean, I'm not sure if you
Whisper.
watched episode 2, but in episode 2, it's revealed that to vampires, sucking blood is an inherently sexual act.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
she is kind of seducing
Hot.
him.
I mean, I don't know, bro. Like, I just saw up to episode 1. I was like, whoa, where's the etchy tag in this?
They do say that in the show that vampires the only way they can make other vampires is that when they bite a human, that human has to fall in love with them, and then they turn into a vampire.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they just drink their blood.
I mean, I like that concept. At least it's not like, oh, I'm just gonna go drink blood, blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's like turning the idea of love in a rom-com, or maybe not a rom-com, but kind of a romantic series, turning that into an actual mechanic of the story that can be quantified, like, if this happens, then it's true love. If this happens, then it's not true love. That sort of thing.
This is our One Piece. This is our Hokage. This is our Wizard King. Well, we got to make sure that Ko is in love with Nazuna by the end of the series.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like a word kink to me.
So anyway, Ko falls asleep next to her. She bites his neck, sucks his blood, but he pretended to be asleep. So he's like, "What are you doing?" And she just stares at him all guiltily, like, And so as she reveals to him, she's a vampire and she intended to suck his blood in order to get food. And she basically explains all the mechanics, like you said. If he falls in love with her, he'll turn into a vampire. And then the episode ends with Ko deciding that he wants to become a vampire, that he's tired of his day life, he's tired of going to school, he's tired of, presumably, his household and his parents. He wants to just become one with the night. He's heeding the call of the night, baby, like the show's title.
Yofukash no Ta.
Exactly.
Just like the ED.
Factual.
All right, real quick, the ED is incredible. Like,
But the
absolute
OP
god tier.
kind of be slapping even
I was
harder.
say that OP slaps, yo.
I haven't
The
heard
OP is
either.
good.
I have her little dance near the beginning, like where it's synced up to the noises of the of the singing, like just on loop, it rent free in my head.
All I gotta say is that did you see the actual like band's name?
Yeah, Creepy Nuts.
Yeah. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, kind of an interesting name for a band, but it's better than Porno Graffiti.
I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Porno Graffiti goes hard.
No, the music go hard, but that name kind of weird, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Bro, you wouldn't, if you had a band, you wouldn't name it Porno Graffiti? That name's fucking rad.
I'd name my band Porno Graffiti.
No, I just stop at porno. Just there.
Fun fact about the ED as well. Normally when anime get like songs for their opening and ending, they're either like a new song that's commissioned by an artist, or they make up one with like character songs. Yofukashi no Ta, the ED for this show, but of the same name, by Creepy Nuts, who did the opening and the ending. That song's been out for like 3 years, and the author of the show, and also who did this one? Was it Feel or Leiden Films?
Leiden Films sounds right, but I don't actually know. I need to check.
Bro,
Let me check real quick. Leiden Films.
Yeah.
This
okay.
one. They reached out to Creepy Nuts and were like, "Hey, can we use this one for the ED? Because that's literally just the song. Like the name of your song is the same as this manga." And then they're like, "Oh yeah, sure, bro."
Even better, the song is literally it's literally about like staying up all night and how that's like appealing to the singer as like when he was 14, how it was so appealing to him to stay up all night. So it's basically the themes of the show in a song.
Okay.
So like literally match made in heaven.
Yeah, I didn't know
Pretty
that.
much.
And
Well,
as
the
good
other
as
reason-
the ED is though, the OP just kind of goes harder. They got the lyrics like built into the world of the opening in like every single shot.
Honestly, I prefer the ED. The OP is good. The ED is moi. Chef's kiss. Perfect.
I don't know. I haven't watched.
But does the ED have Nazuna dancing?
That is true.
In the second episode, the actual ED plays and she's like destroying a model version of the city they're in. So
But
that's
is she
kind of
dancing?
Cool. I don't think she does.
All right, well, check and mate, good sir.
Fair take to have.
Destroyed by facts and logic.
Oh no. So the main thing I like about this show are the vibes. You're always at night, it's always dark, but everything's glowing and very pretty in a sense,
Very
sort of
purple.
entrancing. Yeah. Also very purple, true. It's very bright despite taking place at night, which I mean, it kind of has to be if you're going to stage an entire show during the night, because if you just make it dark as real night, well, then the show's going to look terrible. So they sort of give it this sort of like entrancing
They're trying to like
feel.
romanticize the idea
Yeah.
of nighttime.
And it completely works. I mean, if night looked like that, I'd be staying up every day. Or I guess every night.
I mean, that's just Vegas.
It's basically like Vegas or
True.
like Tokyo or Osaka, like the big parts. Like legit, I don't know where y'all are living, but where I'm from, like nighttime is like pitch black. Can't go outside. Can't see myself at all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I
in rural Florida, so
Okay.
I'm in rural Illinois, and I live where you can, at night, go on a bike, ride down the road for 15 minutes, not find a single car. I live there. So, did anyone
I had
notice?
been to.
Go on.
Ahead. No, you go ahead.
Did anyone notice how incredible the show's OST is?
No, I thought it was smooth.
kind of listening to it. I thought it was like I don't know. I mean, I thought it was pretty decent, but like I haven't really listened to it though.
Yeah, I was more like entranced at what the show is like. What's going on?
Yeah, I was kind of more like paying attention to like what was actually happening rather than like listening for like the OST.
I have been bopping to the opening a whole lot after the first episode, which is all I've seen of the show thus far. But I don't remember any songs from the show. I don't remember hating it though. I think it was just kind of there.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I'm sure if I watched the show more,
Yeah.
I'd like it more.
I normally don't notice the OST of shows, but this one hit me right away of how it's always like subtly, sort of trippy, trancy sort of sounds, and then during the comedic bits in the latter half of the episode, you get some more funky tunes for the, more lighthearted sections. And every song just completely fit, and it like I think the OST nails the vibe that the visuals and the entire feel of the show is going for. It was just, it's so nice to see a show for the first time in a long time where like everything, like the visuals, the OST, the themes are all just firing on all cylinders to create a very particular feel. Which is the part of the show that I would compare most to Monogatari, because Monogatari was also a show with a very particular feel to it. And this show is just as good as Monogatari in that department, in my opinion.
I don't know if I would say it's as good as Monogatari in that department, but I mean, I don't know. Like,
I would definitely say Monogatari is the better looking show, if only because of how creatively out there it is. Whereas this show is like not creatively bankrupt in its visuals, but like I wouldn't necessarily compliment it outside of, oh, they made night look kind of appealing by making some things purple and some things like
I was gonna say like
color.
The color choices they use for certain scenes and like the neon, like okay, I can see what you mean, but like it's kind of like Monogatari.
Like,
in that
it's cool, but it's like
cool,
it's not setting the world on fire.
Yeah, it's not like freaking Monogatari using actual like real life scenes and stuff like that in certain parts of their like.
I mean, animation. To be fair, I've seen a lot of Shaft shows at this point, so I'm kind of used to Monogatari style, and I've seen it in other shows.
Yeah.
Although I do love that style, like, completely. I just think Yofukashi no Uta does like a really good job of capturing a particular feel.
I think what helped contribute to that is like the kind of naturalistic dialogue they're going for. They kind of like I'm trying to remember what's line in particular from the first episode made me like think this way, because it reminded me of Monogatari. It was I think the moment where like the vampire girl is also like dapping up Ko right before she takes him to his place to get him like high five. And I think it was like when they're talking after she bites him and just having casual conversation about like, oh no, I didn't bite you. There's like this giant mosquito. And it's like, oh, mosquito. And she's like, oh, that's not flying, huh? And he's like, nah.
The dialogue is very chill in this show. All consistently gets a smile out of me.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
I feel like the show, I'm not like 100% sold on it yet. I feel like it definitely has something interesting to say. I just feel like I need to see how exactly it says it.
I feel like going off the one episode, I mean, like it's like it's all right. Like it's something like I'm not. It's not like I'm not gonna not watch it. I'm still gonna watch it, but like I still like I need it to like give me more for me to be like invested into it. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
I get where you guys are coming from, but I mean, me personally, this is the one show this season that I am completely and utterly sold on. I have seen episode 2, and I know that it does stay good, and that episode 2 ends on a note that leaves me questioning how it's going to move going forward. So I'm really excited to continue it. Episode 2 is, I mean, it's like a little less good than episode 1, just because it's sort of like more of a slice of life episode, just staged in the night, but it's still filled with, endearing dialogue, seeing Nazuna and Ko get closer as friends. And there's like all these little subtleties to the interactions that sort of feel like it's like Ko's undergoing an arc even during the more slice of lifey bits where it's just, focused on the comedy. So I'm really sold on this show. The last note I have too is when Nazuna thinks Ko is gay and she's like, oh, that's cool. And I just have in my notes, Nazusa is not homophobic. I repeat, she is not homophobic.
Just curious.
Ko hates women.
Yeah.
The last note that I had for Call of the Night, which is the only reason that stood out to me was because it was like a little the way that some of the body shapes are drawn. Why do all of the girls have like weird? I want to say deflated, but also triangular tits.
Okay.
Guess it's just the author's thing.
So,
well,
I did
I would
notice
say that's the
that.
author's thing because like that, like the opposite is true in Dagashi Kashi,
Oh,
where everyone's
okay.
busty. Well, they're either flat or they're busty.
What the fuck? I didn't actually notice that.
I noticed that. Too.
Well, it's definitely most pronounced on Nazuna because she's like wearing nothing but like short shorts and a skin tight top that only covers her chest and leaves her midriff exposed, and she's got no sleeves.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
I can't really give a Y to that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just...
I couldn't give you a why to it either. I'm just it was curious because like you don't really see. It was like the shape of it was like throwing me off. It was because like you watch literally any other anime unless your name is like Konosuba where everyone's tits are sagging. But it's like everyone, they're all like just perfectly round.
Yeah.
It's just a weird design choice that I noticed.
Hey man, all I know is that if that's what you paid attention to, fair props to you, man.
Facts, bro.
Facts, bro. I mean, that's all I'm gonna say. For me personally, it was more like the actual like backgrounds of each of the scenes, like the color palettes used, and like I don't know, just the animation for it for me, like it feels like really aesthetically pleasing to my eyes, like especially with the use of like the violet colors that they use throughout the anime. I thought that was like pretty good.
Yeah, the production values it's
very high quality. Like the
there.
Monogatari, like director, freaking like perfect for this. That's all I'm gonna say. That's like basically what I kind of got like from it really when I was watching.
Well,
oh,
you
yeah,
say
hold on. I was gonna say, yeah, it's funny that you reminded me of that. It is directed by a guy who did a bunch of Monogatari stuff at
Yeah.
Shift.
Yeah.
It's directed by Tomoyuki Itamura, which is probably where he got the idea of changing the color scheme in order to make it more appealing.
Yep.
I
He
mean,
also did Mark comes in like a line too as well, which also has similar aspects to that too as well.
All in all, it does fit.
Hey, anyone got any other notes on Call of the Night? Any little last bits?
Bro, midway through it, I had no clue what was going on. I was trying to figure out what was going on.
Oh, we were talking about
Yeah.
Are you talking about the podcast?
No,
or, like,
Call the
show?
Night. Like midway through it, like of course there was like all that school stuff at the start, right? And when she started flying and they were drunk, I was thinking, what is going on? Am I just like, what? Which is a different show? Then it just got aesthetic, and I was like, this is what this is about.
Yeah, no, I mean, I kind of feel that too, but like after watching, when you've seen so much of like JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, you kind of just follow along with like a lot of things, and you just accept it.
I mean, JoJo's like.
I mean, I was.
Yeah, go on.
I wasn't really confused during it.
Yeah, it was very straightforward.
Yeah.
Nah,
To me, it was sort of just a rom-com staged with like night aesthetics.
So like a coming of age story, kind of.
I guess, but I just
also
thought,
that in a sense.
I think I just missed something because I was watching it like midway through, and I was like, what is going on? I'm just seeing someone flying.
Did you like die for like 10 minutes and,
Nah.
and then you just continue watching the episode afterwards?
Nah, 3 minutes through. I didn't go
I
Rest
don't
in
really understand how
peace.
you could get lost in this show.
Rest in peace,
watching, like, the
Luke.
first like 3 minutes, his kettle died. He went to go fix it, comes back, and he sees like a bunch of drunk people and flying. That's probably what happened.
I look away, look back, and see someone flying. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah. I mean, I personally thought it was pretty good. I think it's really like, really nice. I'm still gonna definitely check this out though. But yeah, like what's it called? Crunchy Bagel said this is actually probably one of the better animes this season that I've actually been enjoying.
I definitely agree with that. It's definitely one of the better shows this season.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's easily like of the ones I've watched so far, like easily the best, and it's not even a competition.
There is a competition. There is a show that I like more. and we'll get to it in a few shows from now.
Oh, really?
That's gonna be. I think I know what it is, and I think we're gonna hard disagree. But
first, we gotta weed through the garbage. Like my stepmom's daughter is my ex, for instance.
Oh Lord.
Oh God.
Lord. Yes.
Oh no.
This one, right?
Bro, someone at Kadokawa needs to be fired. They swapped their light novel title with their porno search history title.
Jesus Christ, man! Like reading the title of this, I was like, bro, like this is mental. Like they actually like.
Did you make an audible sigh like I did?
I was reading. I was like, my ex daughter stepmom. What? I was like, Jesus, mate. Like we have lost the plot.
Make it.
We have lost.
They couldn't even make it. My stepsister is my ex. They had to make it. My stepmom's daughter is my ex.
What do you mean? The stepmom's the important part of the plot is essential for the story.
What are you doing, step bro?
Exactly.
How do you even think of a title like this? Like what predicament do you have to be in to like think, oh yeah, this is a banger idea?
You think the author like lived through this exact scenario and just like worked shit out?
Like, fuck it. I mean, like, it's just
I don't even care about the title. I don't even care about the premise. My bone to pick with this show is that it just sucks. It's just terrible.
Yep. It's actual garbage. This is like actual garbage.
Okay, so to be fair, this is not the worst show of all the ones here. There are definitely some that were more, boring. But this was the one that made me the maddest watching it. I couldn't stop getting pissed off at every small detail. And maybe it's just because I watched this like directly after Yofukashi no Uta. So maybe, having my expectations so high only to just see this... maybe that contributed to how mad I was.
Why the fuck were your expectations higher for a show called My Stepmom's Daughter is My Ex?
It wasn't. No, my expectations for this show weren't high. I'm talking about like overall for the season, like on the whole. No, maybe there's like a chance it was just a 5 out of 10. It's not a 5 out of 10.
So yeah, the show we got the most generic character designs imaginable. It's the return of everyone's favorite John and Jane every anime.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first thing that immediately set me off about this show. And what's even worse is that their faces do not move. Like
really?
It's static.
It's not that they literally don't move. It's just that it's the same fucking expression the entire episode.
Manga, baby. Although it's a light novel.
If it's moving manga, then this was the most visually boring manga of all time.
Oh.
So, the plot is basically that there's so these two people are exes, right? They dated in middle school, and then they broke up. And obviously, after a relationship, you irrationally or perhaps rationally hate the other person with every fiber of your being. So, they split things off for a little while, but then the girl's mom starts dating and eventually marries the boy's dad. And now these two people who hate each other, supposedly, we'll get to that, are stuck in the same house together. Antics ensue. And by antics, I mean the most annoying... They're just constantly picking at each other in the most grating way imaginable. Just constantly like, I hate you. No, I hate you more. It's like, is this dialogue fun to anyone? Did anyone laugh at this? Because I was just thinking to myself, this is the worst dialogue. This is just annoying to watch. Why do I want to see these two people just constantly picking at each other? Like, it's not even over the top to make it funny. It's just annoying.
Oh, no, yeah, definitely. Like, there was this one scene that I was trying to, like, get through this thing. Like, I legit, like, had to down something to, like, all right. I was, like, popping Adderall to, like, trying to get this shit through. I was like, all right, gotta focus on this shit. There was one scene where I fuck if I know the fucking... pay attention to the character's name, that the girl where she said
I do not blame you. I literally just wrote John and Jane every anime.
God. For the love of God, I had to quit. Like after that part, I was like, no, I'm dropped. No, done. I cannot.
Yeah, I finished the entire episode. Unfortunately,
you
did.
Oh God, no.
I watched. I think I can't remember if I started skimming or not. I definitely watched the first episode, and then I skimmed a little of the second just to see how much worse it got.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And it doesn't get as trashy as the first episode, but it's just not. It's exactly what you think it is.
I remember watching the first episode. I'm messaging Austin saying, "Am I sure I'm watching the right thing?" Because it says it's rated a 7, but this is like it's rated a 4.
I was surprised about that too. Like Mao has it like as a 7.6, but I'm like, bro, that's mental.
There are people.
Well, that's because Mao ratings literally don't matter.
Yeah, true.
I mean, that's true, but still.
All the people in my server really like this show for some reason, and I'm just like, why?
Do they all have step siblings by chance?
Oh no.
I don't think they do. One of them has biological brothers.
I'm very concerned if they do, but when I'm
Many
getting
of them tend to
Kiss
display
vibes from this shit.
incestuous tendencies.
Yeah. It's like legit Kiss X for me. Like I'm just like, oh god.
It's not Kiss X Sis, but
No,
it's something
just,
far worse.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just actual trash.
So after this annoying as fuck dialogue where they battle over who's the little sister and who's the little brother, kill me. It almost sort of picks up, kind of. It's not good, and it doesn't stay even decent for long, but there was one hook of intrigue that I found sort of decent, whereas that the main guy is sort of shown that like he's put upon. Like nobody really likes him. He's just, sort of keeps to himself, reads all day. People start, sort of pretending to be his friend in order to get closer to the girl because they want to, ask her out. And they think that he's sort of a good stepping stool. And the sister immediately sees through it and she's like, hey, why are you letting these people take advantage of you? And he's like, just ignore them. It doesn't matter. And what this sort of says to me is that he's used to being treated like shit. And that's the one good piece of characterization in the show, because they don't go ham with it. It's just sort of, mostly implied. And I like that. I like that sort of characterization. But of course, the decent vibes don't last for long because she takes a shower and tries to seduce him, but is in denial about trying to seduce him. Who would have seen
my favorite line from that was like she's trying to think about how to to one up him because they have this like little game going on about like who is gonna be treated like the younger sibling between the two. And then she's like, she gets this galaxy brain idea in the bathroom where she's like, I know how to get him. And then she just comes out to her ex-boyfriend in a towel being like, oh, there's nothing wrong. Oh, we're siblings now. There should be nothing wrong
I couldn't
with this.
get through that scene. I honestly couldn't.
And then it's not until like minutes into the scene, I think like 2 minutes in, where she's like, she suddenly, her brain switches back on from atrophy and is like, oh, wait, what am I doing? I am like nearly naked in front of my stepbrother who is also my ex. Oh, what have I done?
Oh no.
I couldn't really tell if she was in love with him again and trying to get to him, or if she's just genuinely brain dead. Because in the bath she's like, nothing gets to him. And that could be implied as like, oh, he never, like, because she's also thinking about like,
you can't show weakness.
But like, she's also thinking about how she had his arm basically against her boob and how he just felt nothing. So she's like, I can't ever get to him. And so maybe, I think she's supposed to be a tsundere, which makes this show even worse.
Oh no, yeah, oh definitely. Like, to be honest, like I can already just tell you, I think they're gonna end up getting back together. Just from the vibe.
What the stepbro and stepsis who are formerly exes trying to one up each other in sibling rivalry are actually gonna get back together in the end. I could have never.
It's not like that. It's happened before. Oremo has happened in Oremo. Oh my god, but yeah.
It's so fitting that the opening is like puzzle piece themed because these bitches autistic.
Yeah. Oh god.
I wouldn't even mind the premise because like they dated before, they're obviously not going to see each other as siblings automatically and probably aren't ever. I mean, they're trying to be siblings, but they're probably not going to actually end up seeing each other as siblings in the end. And I'm fine with that. As long as the show's actually good, and it's not. So this was painful.
The only way this show would have worked, it like would have piqued my interest, because I was like flatlining throughout the whole thing, is if like after like that scene in their bedroom where they're like trying to one up each other, determining who the little sibling is, and they're getting all mad. Like if they got up in each other's faces, like so angry, just scowling at each other, and then they just started like furiously making out and hate fucking each other. That is how I would keep up with the show and be like, oh, okay, now you got my attention.
I would watch that.
Bro, I wanted to see a boxing match between them two. That's all I wanted. Just like actual fighting.
So there's two lines in particular that made me want to throw my laptop out the window. So there's this one scene where the girl is, teary-eyed, all sad, like, you never used to be this mean to me. And I'm like, have you heard yourself this entire episode? You've done nothing but insult each other. How you don't have the right to get mad at him insulting you, considering what you've said to him. Are you really going to pull this? So that made me completely hate her. And then the second line that got on my nerves was, Mizuto, are you the kind of bad boy who'd sneak a peek at his stepsister?
Oh
with
my
lusty
god.
eyes?
Jesus Christ.
Are you the kind of stepsister who would come out in a bath towel to your stepbrother?
That is the worst dialogue. I'm in agony. Life is pain.
That's literally
Kill
just
me.
what they say in porn.
I legit just closed out my window at that point. I was like, nah, I'm done. I can't.
That's what like porn actors say, like when like purposefully stupid camping is, because they know that no one's coming there for the context.
I had to turn my brightness down.
They're just saying shit.
Yeah, and then they
But
get
this is an
walked
actual
in on.
TV show.
They're about to kiss, and then they get walked in on, and she hides inside the couch or whatever. And it's like, I don't know how I made it through this entire episode. I will say though, if they had actually kissed and gotten back together, I probably would have watched episode 2, even though I hate this show with a passion. So, what does that say about me as a viewer?
A lot. It says a lot, actually.
A lot, yeah. Spitting a lot.
Once again, Project Number 9 takes a huge fucking L because they are literally incapable of making anything good.
They made one good show, Tomozaki-kun, and I mean, I guess
And even that's debatable.
Yeah,
I
I
will
agree.
debate you on that.
I mean, Tomozaki-kun's a good show for people who have no social skills and need a TV show to tell them how to be sociable.
But-
Oh,
ooh.
actual shots.
Personally, I wouldn't have that. Personally, I wouldn't have that.
Hey, personally, if that was me, I wouldn't take that. That's all I'm gonna say. We better see some hands thrown on this
Just
podcast.
you wait.
Listen, viewers at home, a cute anime girl is not going to come into your life and magically make you into a sociable person. You gotta work on that shit yourself. I appreciate the sentiment, but I feel like it's just setting up poor expectations.
Dang.
I mean, how far did you get into Tomozaki? I know this is way off topic, but
I watched the first episode. I was like,
yeah,
that's
like
why, I
that's
get
why
who
you
the
think
audience is, but like
Tomozaki-kun-
I actually have a grasp over my social presence.
I mean, that's
out
why
in
you think
public.
that's why you think it's about Hinami solving all his problems. It's.
I
not
mean,
about
am I?
that. You're not. Yeah, you are
All
wrong.
right, well, I'll wait for your video then.
Yeah, I will show the hell out of it in that video because I think it's a masterpiece. But
I don't know. I kind of checked out of that show when the blue-haired girl started like fondling the other girl's tits as a greeting.
That was a scene. What?
what do you mean? That's peak fiction, bro. That's peak anime.
Bro, that's peak horny on me. What do you
I was
mean?
like, yeah, that's gonna convince me to be a better person in public.
Oh yes.
All right. Does anyone have any other things to say about fucking stepmom's daughter, my ex?
Where's the stepmom?
Fuck this.
Yeah.
Where's the stepmom?
The stepmom's not even that hot. Like, what the fuck?
Where is the stepmom? Yeah. Like Jesus Christ, man. Like
Why is it called that? My stepmom's daughter is my, just say stepsister. Like, does every light novel
we need
title-
it to be saucier.
like
True.
It can't just be the
It needed to
stepsister.
be
It's gotta.
more-
We gotta.
you gotta
We need to
throw
make
the mom
sure-
into the plot real quick. Like now you know what the mom does? Power move.
Now it's
takes over
actually
the
trash.
daughter and starts flirting with the dude. Boom. Show
Yeah,
dominance.
I was about to say.
Oh, I'd watch that.
That's-
If that was the
Uh,
actual show, I would be entertained.
That
everyone who's not blood related just starts flirting with each other.
Listen here, Project 9. This is simply what you need to do. Get the mom, have her do a power move over her daughter, and then boom, flirts with a guy, shows dominance. They end up together. Boom! I solved all your problems right there.
That's just the
And
dumb
then
anime formula.
clearly, and then you can use this as practice for when you go on to make the Emergence adaptation.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, I feel like we spent more than enough time on this piece of shit show.
Way
Because
too
now we got to
much.
move on to an even bigger piece of shit show. Austin, I'll let you take a Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World.
God, Jesus.
Oh
Alright.
no.
So you just want me to basically sum it up, or you just want me to say my what I feel about it?
Either or.
Well, all I will say is that this is kind of the new trash of this season. It's one, not only is it isekai, but it also has harem in the name, so you can already infer what mainly it's about. But yeah, so basically it's about this guy named Michio, I think his name was, or yeah, it was Michio. And he's basically just struggling in life with society, he's in high school and stuff like that. And then he gets on this website and has a number of questions in a point-based system, right? And it when he completed it, right, he is transported into a game like Fantasy World, and he's kind of it's like the whole isekai protagonist thing where he has the powers and all that stuff. And yeah, basically like that. That's basically what I got from it. It's just that, but then you just throw the harem, the ecchi, and all that stuff.
So
I made it 10 minutes in before I started skipping around.
Oh no, you made it in 10 minutes in, bro. I legit got to the first 5, and I was like, nah.
Oh, okay. So that's why your recollection of it is so scarce.
Yeah,
That's not
basically.
the word, but whatever. So I watched the entirety of episode 1. This is your cue to applaud me.
Oh god.
Okay, thanks.
no.
So when I typed this into the search bar of my legal streaming site, cough cough wink wink,
Yeah.
it had a normal version and then an uncensored version.
Oh yeah,
So I was
yeah.
like, okay. But the first episode doesn't really have much in the way of NSFW or ecchi or anything like that. There's a few
Which
shots.
is bullshit.
I mean, there's a sex slave that gets introduced because of every isekai has to have those nowadays.
Oh no,
apparently.
yeah.
This isn't
slavery,
even the
definitely,
only
yeah.
one in this season that has that.
Mm-hmm.
So that exists, and then there's a shot where he's thinking about what's it called? I don't know, places whorehouses.
Oh,
That's how
yeah.
he puts it.
Brothels?
Brothel, yeah, a brothel.
Brothel, and it cuts randomly to a bunch of very lewd shots just because hey, we have to have that in the episode or else they'll click off because there's nothing else in this show.
No, it has nothing to offer, really.
Bro, my man's got over his fear of being trapped in a game and murdering real people real fast when the topic of brothels and sex slaves got brought up. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's important though. This is
He
important.
made a miraculous recovery in that front.
Oh yeah.
I think this. I think we all agree this show is basically going to turn out to be porn with extra steps.
It's basically interspecies reviewers at this point.
But it's not though, and that's the thing,
bro.
Because this is from
I don't know.
This is from Passion,
But,
who made interspecies
Yeah,
reviewers.
that's what I'm saying.
Which is a way better show.
Well,
in terms of being the NSFW kind of show and just being a show in general. Because I don't care, man. I'll go to bat for interspecies reviewers by saying it's actually an interesting show, even if you were to
No, you're not
cut
wrong.
out all of the porn.
You're not wrong. No, I totally agree with you. 100%. Interspecies reviewers is like a W, anime. But on the other hand, I feel like this is the more, I don't know. It's a bit more leaning towards the degenerate side a bit more than interspecies reviewers. Although interspecies reviewer was very degenerate, it's more of a comedy type of thing. If you get what I'm saying.
Well, see, I can point out that difference right now, because the thing about interspecies reviewers is that everything in that is consensual. It's on the up and up.
Yeah.
Everyone who is involved in the pipping of the diddly doos is all giving their 100% consent. This one's literally just about sex slaves.
Yeah.
Well, here's all right. This is a line that made me laugh out loud from how kind of dumb it is. All right. So when he's basically being shilled the sex slave, right?
Mm-hmm.
The guy's like, and by the way, she's given her consent to whoever owns her, and it's like, well, she's a sex
of course
slave.
she did.
It's like, well, it's either she consents and it's
Or
like,
she fucking dies.
oh, it's either that or she just either gets killed or gets raped. So I mean, like, is that really consent? Are you seriously going to convince me that that is actual consent?
No, that is like the equivalent of being like, no, she looks 10, but she's actually 1,000-year-old dragon lolly. It's
Basically.
okay.
A better
It's
name
literally
for this
the same
anime
thing.
would be like, hey, slavery ain't that bad.
Bro, they're like they bring up slave trading in the like first few minutes, and it's like like the goofy edgy goofball in me just like getting up, like popping up, like, oh yes, let's fucking go. I knew, like, this is the exact kind of trash that this show deserves, because it's not like in a slightly interesting like take on it like Shield Hero. Not to say Shield Hero is a good show, but at least like you could understand why Naofumi was like forced to. Not he didn't take pleasure in it. He just literally had no choice. And that kind of spawned this interesting relationship between Naofumi and Raphtalia. Whereas this one, it is like straight up being like, hey, I am this rich guy who runs a sex slave trade. I will sell you this wolf girl if you go into this dungeon and bring me back some treasure. And by the way, you can do literally whatever you want to this wolf girl. She's given her full consent.
Better than redo of a healer.
Hold on.
Facts.
Before he knew before he knew that she had, and I'm putting this in massive air quotes, consented, he still looked enthusiastic about it. He still seemed like super on board with this. He didn't think for a moment, oh, isn't this kind of immoral? Isn't this kind of bad? He was just completely in on it from moment one. So, you know, that's our likable protagonist for this show.
I think my favorite line from him is when he tries to justify it by being like, no, I have to buy her. If I don't, she just becomes someone else's sex slave. What a saint, a patron saint among men.
Oh, yes. Like, you know, this is what every man should strive to be right there.
Guys, if I just go out and do my own, if I buy all the child trafficking, then they'll be safe from everyone else. It'll be fine.
Oh, God.
Just give them to me.
Crazy, yo.
When did
In Minecraft.
in Minecraft, there we go.
Okay. Now we're good. In Minecraft. Gotcha.
Your Honor, it's okay. My client said in Minecraft.
The FBI waiting to like get me for crimes, but I say in Minecraft at the end.
And then they gotta let you go. They could have you in the fucking electric chair, and you could say it was in Minecraft, and they're like, oh shit, sorry, bro.
Yeah, my bad.
Why does every isekai author feel like why did all of them just look at Raphtalia?
Because they don't interact with women.
Porn addiction.
All of
It's a
them
porn
looked
addiction.
at Raphtalia and was like, let's put that in my story. Like, why?
They looked at what was big and popular, completely missed the point. What, even if there was like barely a point at all, they completely missed it, and just want to appeal to like the ultimate retard incel fantasy.
Pretty much.
All I'm
And you know what, like, the worst part of it all is?
What?
There's barely anything at NSFW in the show.
Yep.
So, like, not only... So you're gonna have this, like, super trashy, super degenerate premise, and you're not even gonna give us the payload?
See, all right, I skimmed.
There's, like, 10 seconds in the first episode.
Yeah.
And there's, like, literally nothing in episode 2. I didn't watch
Yeah.
it, by the way. I just skimmed it just
Yeah,
to be like,
I skimmed
okay,
it.
is there literally anything, like, to go off of? No, there's not.
It's just a normal sort of trashy adventure story that just happens to occasionally mention.
At least Redo of Healer actually, like, delivered on the trash that it promised. Like, you can say whatever you want about the show and, like, the content within it, but at least they actually, Like they had a mission and they accomplished it, but come hell or high water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So here's a weird bit of the about the show that isn't basically unrelated to what we were just talking about. But at the beginning, he's clueless about this world, and the villagers are basically sort of like tutorializing him on everything. So here's my question. Are they supposed to be real people? Is this like him really being transported to the world, or are they just NPCs? Because if they're supposed to be real people with like real, consciousnesses, then why aren't they questioning why he doesn't know anything? And if they're just NPCs, then that's just going to make the character writing really boring, because it's like they're not real people acting on real logic. They're just, acting how their program tells them to. So you can just excuse all the plot holes of like the villagers not questioning why this guy knows nothing about the basic mechanics of the world. No, you can just excuse it with, they're NPCs, it doesn't matter.
I hope they're real, because then I actually want to see like some people being evil, and then some people turning evil, and then some people actually turning good, and like helping the
guys.
MC.
The sex slave sees buys. It's moral because they're not real.
Wow.
So what are your opinions on people that are lolicons then?
I was making a joke about the mechanics of the world. I wasn't trying to start this debate. We can get into that another time.
It all
I don't want to.
depends on what the police find in my hard drive. I don't care about anyone else's hard drive, as long as you don't go through mine. This show sucks.
Yeah, basically that's the best I can give.
The main character is nothing. I'm trying to think of like, it's hard to even remember what happens. He like cut some dudes' heads off, and then he like goes out to town, considers buying a sex slave. That's all that happens.
Yep.
Like where's the appeal of this show?
There's none. I mean,
it's not even like a good, it's like titty wank show. It's not even like, because Austin, you like, I remember, because the first video that I found from you was the Mother of the Goddess Dormitory show,
all right. Don't start putting labels on people now. I'm not saying you endorse it. Don't start putting labels on people now just because of one video.
I'm not saying you endorse that kind of content and behavior. I'm just saying that it should have been hentai.
I mean, basically, like, yeah.
But like at least they, like, in the first episode delivered on the content that they promised. They don't even do that in this show. So like, what's the point? You're getting the worst, like, trashy premises, but none of the payload. So like, it's a lose-lose.
It's basically like cucking the fans, honestly.
At least like Goddess of Mother's Dormitory or whatever it was called, Mother of Goddess Dormitory, I don't know, and like shows like Sunahara, like at least those actually deliver. This is just boring adventure show, but you get 2 seconds of him thinking about boobs, so it's very ecchi, guys. It totally deserves
slap an ecchi title on there.
Meanwhile, my boy Crimvale, the based bisexual icon, was laying pipe in episode 1.
Exactly. Crazy. I don't know.
Well, that's about
how the mighty have fallen. Do better, Passion.
I mean, didn't he write Idaten Deities?
Did Passion do that one? I think they did.
So at least that's one other good show under their belt.
Oh not Passion. Mappa did that show. The writer of
I thought you were talking
Interspecies.
About the writer.
No, the writer. No. The guy who wrote Interspecies Reviewers would never write this trash. he has standards.
Okay.
I'm talking about the studio that made it.
All right.
Anyone else have anything to add about the Harem show?
No. Just like every other Harem.
No.
Alright, well then, Loot, I'll let you take Engage Kiss.
Okay. The first thing I can say about Engage Kiss, right, is the synopsis on Mao is the biggest lie I've ever heard in my life. that synopsis, I thought when I saw the synopsis and I started it, right, I was like, oh, it's just this guy, he's working at a company, he's kind of sad, and it's just a random comedy, right? Ignore like the cover photo. Then you actually watch it, and like there's just demons, and then there's a corporation trying to take down the demons. Have you guys seen Tact OP?
I've seen the first episode.
Tact Op Destiny, right?
Yeah, where they're like the music and there's a demon.
We watched the first episode for a podcast that ended up getting scrapped, and it looked visually cool. I did not care for anything else about it.
Okay, yeah, this is basically the same premise. It's visually cool. It is comedic. The characters that I wouldn't say is like the main character's OP, and of course there's like those girls that are just in love with him, you know, sort of like that. But then other than that, everything else is just fine. The music's really great. So what it's really about is this a guy who's just like who owns like his small business, and he's like he's a smoker, of course, and he's like kind of done with life, blah blah blah. And then there's like these demons that came, and they didn't like in like other shows where you know where they like the demon just spawns out the sky and it comes from like a meteorite. This thing, I forgot how it spawned, but it spawned in some other way, and like some people can turn into demons and stuff like that, and they just gotta take this down and get rid of it. That's basically it. But I only watched like the first episode.
Yeah, I also did just the first episode. My first note for this is she has pink hair and is mentally unstable. What is this?
Let's fucking go.
Nikki too.
Where have I seen this
it's funny that you say that, because I also wrote pink-haired girl, interest is already peaked.
Bro, my question is, what's with all the ex-girlfriend? Because like, isn't like what's it called? The person he goes to work for, or one of his colleagues, is like his ex-girlfriend or something.
Yeah, the blue-haired girl.
What's it? Ex-girlfriends this season.
And
anime characters don't get more than one girlfriend.
Exactly.
That's totally unrealistic. Most anime fans don't even get one.
wow. Sad reality, man.
Neon, that hits a bit too close to home.
So I heard because I care. An interesting thing to note about Engage Kiss is that this is one of 2 original A1 Picture shows coming out this season. This one was directed by Tomiya Tanaka, who his only directorial credit is a Visual Prison from fall 2021, which I did not see and heard it was bad.
I mean, I'd say like it was awful, but the music slapped. I mean, I guess that's the only plus.
So there is one hook of intrigue in this show that I actually thought was pretty... I wouldn't say great, but it had potential, and if the entire show had been built around it, I would have probably enjoyed it, which is this sort of like loser guy who makes a bunch of promises he can't keep and who's hopelessly poor, with his mentally unstable, psychotic girlfriend who's overly dependent with him and basically suicidal.
It's also
she
a demon.
Literally talks, yeah, and is also a demon, but like I could take that aspect or leave it. I don't really care. But that pairing, it's not every day you see that sort of stuff.
Crazy.
And I thought it was a pretty decent hook of intrigue, and I wish the entire show had been about that.
Mm-hmm.
And like how that pairing, you know, gets along in society.
Then it becomes Persona.
I'm about to say Darling in the Franxx 2.0. Pink hair, unstable, you know, waifu is of a different, you know, race, aka like monster or demon. Paired with a protagonist
made by A1 Pictures. I mean, we unravel the conspiracy.
That's what I'm gonna say.
I have not seen Darling in the Franxx.
Neither have I.
Hey, your life is kind of better for it. Except instead of looking like Hero, our main guy looks like Naofumi.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I remember thinking that. I don't actually remember what he looks like anymore because it's kind of not a very standout design.
He looks like Naofumi.
No, the only design I remember the most was the pink-haired girl.
Yeah, I thought she looked.
I thought the nun. I remember
that was
nun.
a decent design.
Bro, all I say is I thought the office lady looked pretty good. The ex-girlfriend, I was like, yo, she's kind of bad. You know, office lady in that, yeah, piqued my interest.
I had found the premise of all of these different demon slaying companies bidding on taking demon hunting jobs, and the lowest charging bidder getting the job was a neat premise. Like, you got all these different companies who are being like, all right, this C-class demon, we're willing to do like 100,000 for it. And then the poor broke motherfucker, he's like, you know what? 30,000. It's like, well, that's not fucking worth it to anyone else, so we're out.
Yeah, and everyone like super de-duper hates him for it.
Because he's taking these expensive jobs for cheap.
Yeah.
If only life could go that way, man.
Yeah, if only, you know, everyone in life could get a demon girl, like, girlfriend as, you know, for their own.
A demon stalker who's overly dependent on you and also powers up by sucking your face and I think putting her tooth in your mouth? I wasn't 100% clear on how that worked.
Basically, she powers up by making out with him.
Yeah, but what was with the tooth that he spit out?
I didn't actually, like, I don't remember that.
I don't even know.
This show has, at the very least, it has a pulse in it. You know, it has some ideas.
Kind of.
Yeah.
It picks up in the second half. The first half was incredibly slow.
I mean, I honestly liked the first half more, and then the second half with all with like the fight scene, I don't really care. You know, I've said many times before, action stuff not really my cup of tea. Don't really get hyped for it for the most part. There's one exception in this season, kind of, but I mean, this one it was just sort of like felt nothing, except for when. Why I say it has a pulse is when the two are like bickering in the middle of the fight scene, which you could say, oh well, that
was the best scene of the episode.
Yeah, you could say, oh well, that's not very realistic. The demon's just standing around waiting for them to finish their argument. And my response to that would be, I don't care. It was kind of funny.
Well, no, the demons don't even stand around. The demons are still trying to kill them, but while the ex-girlfriend and the pink demon girl are they fight each other, but are also like taking swings and shots at each other that they dodge and they kill the demon that's coming from behind. Like I thought that was neat.
Actually, so first she gets mad at the office lady who's his ex and like tries literally impaling her. Then she tries impaling the main character because he won't give her the spare house key, and that. The house key dialogue in particular was like probably one of my favorite parts of the episode. That was where the characters' personalities were almost sort of working for me.
He's like, you don't even need it. You could just phase through walls and shit. It's like the principle of the matter, bro.
Yeah, that line is good. But then, you know, they make out and then she just gets super powerful and kills the demon and they all win and they get the money, but in the end they have to pay property damages. So they probably won't end up with too much.
Broke as fuck.
Yep.
Like me. Either way, I honestly forgot that was like, even though it's in the title, I forgot that the whole thing of like them kissing actually powers her up. I was like, okay, nice.
I thought the title was just there to be a title until they actually kiss.
Same. I was like, okay, cool. And then like, you know, I was like, okay, I see where the title.
Yeah, I thought it was like the Stepmom thing, innit? It was just there to be a title.
You know,
like, it's not.
Don't bring that anime up again, please.
There was this really hilariously awful moment where the demon that they're fighting, when he was like in his human form, he does this big scream. The sound design on it is so fucking terrible because like it starts out as like a normal human scream at first, and then you can like imagine, you could like fucking see the dude in the anime studio in the booth being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take this like pitch shifter and just like push it as he's screaming to make it sound like a monster scream, and it's so fucking weak and bad.
I feel like I'd be able to enjoy in a sort of opposites day, less trashy, better written version of this show, because I think all the core elements do actually like either have potential or are at least clicking a little bit. But I mean, overall, the final product is just not really something I'm interested in continuing at all.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Same.
I feel like it will just slowly just go downhill and then just keep going down.
Like, it sucks because there are aspects of the show I do like, and there is a pulse here. It's just buried under incredibly just a lot of mediocrity and not really being all that captivating. So kind of unfortunate.
Honestly, being honest with you, this is the trash shit that I be watching sometimes on the low. So I might potentially just watch it for the sake of watching it.
I mean, hey, if you're looking for something trashy, this would be one of them.
High key. I already started it. I might as well not drop it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got enough neat animation cuts to make it like elevate it from like trash like the Harem show and the Stepmom show to being like, you know, it's not very great, but like it's serviceable enough, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Unlike the next show, which is actually the best show of the season so far to me, the second A1 original, Lycoris Recoil.
That's how you say it. Okay. I was
struggling.
I just called it Lycoris Recoil the entire time.
Yeah, I also called it Lycoris Recoil in my head, but I was training myself to say licorice.
Yeah, I thought it was like licorice or something like that. I was like, oh wait, what?
You gotta get rid of the ish part at the end.
Chorus, licorice.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna post this in the chat because I literally have it written on my notes as Lycoris Recoil because I refuse to say licorice. Like, screw that. I'm calling it Lycoris Recoil. But the question is, does Lycoris Recoil make you recoil?
Bro.
No, it actually makes me incredibly excited to watch more of the show.
Cute anime girls, they have guns. What more do you need?
It's not just that they have guns though. It's that like I didn't expect them to have guns, but I also didn't expect the main character to just be so like on board with it.
Bro, they have the Yurei. They have the Yurei in the show, bro.
Yeah, they're also Yurei baiting.
They have Yurei in there. Yurei, cute girls, and guns. That's all you need.
The eye catcher does depict the two characters like both naked for some reason, and one's holding out a flower, the other one's holding out a gun. I'm like, okay, this is the level of Yurei baiting I can get on board with.
Oh, definitely.
That key visual is probably my favorite part of the show, I'm gonna be real with you.
Don't tell me you were not a fan of Lycoris Recoil.
What? You know, I don't dislike it. It's just very, very, like, nothing made me want to continue it. Nothing hooked me.
Bro, they have guns.
So you're telling me the scene where it's like...
Get him off the podcast. All right, yeah, no.
Yeah, you're fired. The contract's terminated.
I'm the new host now.
No.
I'm the captain now. Crunchy, you're telling me that one scene, like near the beginning of the episode, where you think it's gonna be like this like generic cutesy girl being like, oh, she's like going to her job while she's narrating about the, you know, life and society and the, you know, typical anime shit, and you didn't feel anything, any like raised eyebrow or like head turning being like, ooh, what's this, what's going on, when all of these schoolgirls with silenced pistols come out and straight ice people who are about to commit crimes
against humanity.
Those scenes just don't really do much for me in general. Like all the scenes of like people, you know, shooting people and like killing 50 dudes with one machine gun. That just doesn't. Well, I'm not
talking about the action. I'm talking about like just the premise alone.
Yeah, I also know what you're talking about, and honestly, it still isn't really doing much for me.
All while this happy ass music plays and the protagonist is reveling in their belief that anyone that even thinks about disrupting the peace of Japan should be erased from existence. And that's just like, oh, okay, we're setting a tone here.
The most interesting part of the show for me was like this idea of a force that basically stops crime before it happens. At least that seems to be.
We're not going full on Minority Report here. We're not thought policing. They're just they're really just
the
like
police, but
good spot. They're basically spies, kind of.
Yeah. Like, so basically, it's like Japan is like kind of policed by like this secret military force made of like entirely orphan teenage girls. I don't know why, but you know, we just roll with it. And
what are they gonna tell their parents?
Wow. Bros on violence.
Oh Lord.
Imagine there's like a person without parents just watching.
Mental.
It's okay. What were they gonna tell?
Oh, mad.
Oh, mad.
Red card, bro. Red card.
Red card. All right, get him off the podcast. Me and Lou are the new host. We're not trying to get canceled here.
We're both fired.
The canceled podcast.
It was your mistake for going on with people as problematic as me and Neon.
Oh God. Jesus.
HR was not a fan.
But yeah, basically it's just, this whole, Japan's run by the secret military force and everything, dealing with operations and stuff like that. And so it follows these two, how is it Lycoris again? Like how do you say it again?
Yeah, you said it right. You said it right.
Yeah. So it's followed by these two, Lycoris, Chisato, and Takina, I think. You're right. And
Takina.
Takina, yeah. Bro, my pronunciation is shit. So basically they spend most of their time working at a cafe and stuff like that, and so basically, yeah, it's just, I don't know, waifus, guns, and orphans.
There's a little more going on under the surface than just that.
Yeah.
That's just the elevator pitch.
Yeah, literally.
So it's about this secret police that's basically Japan is the most I think
they're the public safety is number one.
Yeah.
8 years in a row, they're the top of the world. Meanwhile, there's a fucking mass shooting in America every single week. So if you think
what we need
it's a show that might be
how they get away with keeping
it's very
that rank,
timely.
though, is that they basically cover up the crime and pretend like it never even happens. They stop it and they're like, all right, this was just some accident. Something exploded. We didn't mean for that to happen. Sorry, guys. Gomen asai. But, no, there weren't any people shooting or anything. There weren't any murders or anything. And
we didn't train these schoolgirls to be hitmen and then push this one guy into the bush and then the other girl stands over with a silencer going pat pat pat.
So we meet our protagonist, who I just internalized as Mio, but with an A1 Pictures art style Mio from K-On! At least that's what she reminded me of. And so,
I was gonna say that Takina reminds my mistake. Takina.
See, you did the same shit as me.
Yeah, because it was in your, you said it and then it got in my head. Takina, she reminds me most of the sacrilege because I haven't seen Madoka yet, but the black-haired girl.
Yeah.
Homura.
Yeah, she reminded me most of her.
Whereas
Chisato reminds me of no other character design I've seen.
Oh yeah, she's very, very out there design-wise, but I kind of like it. It's a really well designed character. So our protagonist is basically this deadpan sort of girl who's also very gung-ho about killing people and very stubborn in her ways, where she doesn't abide by what the organization wants her to do. She instead just does things her own way. And so she eventually gets moved to being the apprentice of the other protagonist to basically learn how to obey orders.
Mm-hmm. And they develop a Yurei relationship after that.
Hell yeah. It's not just a thing about obeying orders. It's Takina's thing is that she cares little for the lives of others if it means getting the mission done. She'll not allow the people that she's working with or working for to be killed, but she's definitely putting them in harm's way when they don't need to be. She almost killed their fellow Lycoris when in that hostage situation, and then the girl that she was supposed to be bodyguarding, she allows to be captured and threatened with a gun in order to bring out the people who were stalking her.
You're saying there's something wrong with that?
That's
and
you're using a random pedestrian as bait for people with guns.
It's just like the simulations in GTA.
Listen, I'm all for allowing women to be getting bags over the head as much as the next guy, but maybe
you against women's rights or something.
I'm for women's wrongs.
Fair. The one thing that sort of gets me though, and I actually think it's sort of a good thing, which is that the opening scene, it makes me wonder, is the main character, I have her name up, Takina. Is Takina really completely, because the viewer is given no reason, right, to believe that the girl she was saving wouldn't have died had Takina not saved her. At least not that I picked up on. Maybe I just missed something. But, like, as
Well,
far as
it's
I can
also
tell,
like the
she
fact that
would
she
have
also
died.
like it that is a point that is made in the show, but it's also one that's like uh her solution is to be like, okay, I will pick up this big ass machine gun and spray and pray into the room that she's being held in, and just hope that she didn't get hit. And like, hey, it happened to work out.
Yeah, but why I like that detail is that it sort of puts into question the organization's competency, which is also, you know, they're a secret police that covers up crime by lying to the public. So, I mean, the red flags are already waving high.
They're
you know,
definitely not working
competent?
under any moral high ground. Like, yeah, their public safety is top notch, best in the world 8 years in a row. How many child soldiers did they have to train to make that happen? And how many people did they just straight up kill? Like, by the way, no trial, by the way. They just saw a guy with a knife. They see a guy with a bomb in his bag. And there's no arresting going on. It's just on-site pow pow.
High key.
So yeah, I do like that situation gives you room, because you also sort of understands Takina's perspective. Like, does she really want this girl to die? You know, it's a question of like, if I was in that situation, what would I do? Although, to be fair, I would probably be running away like a coward. So, you know,
it like her deal is that like it's not that she wasn't trying to like get her like bodyguard target, the person she was bodyguarding killed, or that hostage killed, but she was acting in a way that jeopardized their lives, and that should be like a no-go.
Yeah.
Like, she's too much of a loose cannon. She's not playing by the rules. Because this is also pretty much kind of like a buddy cop show as well.
Good cop, bad cop.
And Chisato comes in being like super bubbly, super goofy, but she's not aimless. She's not like doing things by the seat of her pants. She's planning shit out, and she's like, every life is important and is worth protecting, even our enemies, which is why when she goes into battle, she takes aim with non-lethal bullets and rope guns, and even when a dude is like shot in the neck and bleeding out, she's going out of her way to patch him up. Even when she's being shot at with lethal rounds by these criminals, she'll just dodge them, being like, hey, that's not cool, bro. Just shoot some point blank with a non-lethal round just to knock him out.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's about the show.
Yeah. Summed it up perfectly.
For me, like, everything is done at a level. It's competently done, competently written. You know, it has good visuals, or at the very least, you know, what everyone would understand as like up-to-date visuals for 2022 standards. But there's just
it's a good-looking show.
Yeah. But I just, there's nothing really hooking me to the show yet. I wouldn't be opposed to continuing it, but it just sort of seems like it's there, you know, sort of middle of the road, at least from what I saw of it.
I would definitely hard disagree. I fell in love with this show even harder than I did with Call of the Night, because it's got its tone set up. It knows exactly what it's trying to do. It's taking great steps in accomplishing the goal that it's setting out to fulfill. The dialogue is fucking incredible.
See, what perplexes me is that was all true of Call of the Night too, at least in my opinion, but I just like the characters more. And I think that's the main difference. Well, hold on, there's two things. I like the characters more in Call of the Night, and I like the atmosphere more in Call of the Night, which makes it overall a very, you know, pleasant experience. And very easy to invest myself in. Whereas with Lycoris Recoil, I feel like I sort of have to try to care about the characters. It's not that they're poorly written.
I didn't have to try to like Chisato at all. I was immediately intrigued by her, just going off of how much she's reveling in the idea of, yeah, anyone who disrupts the peace needs to fucking die.
Yeah,
all while this happy ass music is playing in the background, and we're seeing all these visuals of schoolgirls with silencers just fucking straight kill him in the streets.
I would say, like, I agree with like Neo on that one. Like, honestly, like, I think like, you know, the characters like was like pretty easy like to get into for me, like especially with like Chisato, but like the whole thing like with the interactions between them, it really flows like kind of very fluidly, like, than most animes that I've seen, especially with like a type of like anime like this,
Maybe
I think
by the end of the show.
my favorite.
Go on.
I was just gonna say my favorite moment with Chisato and Takina is when they're just sitting on the bench, and Chisato's like, "You see, the goal of our team, our little cafe team, Lycoris Recoil, is we help individuals that the DA doesn't really deem it important for the Lycoris to help individual people just like take on big missions, whereas we're coming in with clients being like, hey, here's this person that like the police aren't helping with this stalker situation, so we're gonna come in and take care of that for you." And she's like, they're going around to like language teachers to help them teach languages to people. They go over to the Yakuza to deliver coffee, just because they're regulars at the cafe. It's just this intrigue of like Chisato's like she ain't nothing gonna break her stride, ain't nothing gonna hold her down, and like seeing her just be so goofy and bubbly while also being this kick-ass former spy girl, just doing the community service essentially for these individual people. It's so interesting.
Definitely.
Well, I wish I could feel the same way. Maybe I'll pick it back up someday. I did drop it, but I actually first put it on paused, then dropped it, and now, I'm thinking like, comparing it to the rest, it's among the best, which I think says more about the season's quality in general than the quality of the show. Although I know you'll disagree with that assertion. So I don't know. Maybe I'll give it an episode 2 and see, how it unfolds beyond that point. But for episode 1, I was not put off, but not impressed.
The last note that I have is that this original was directed by Shingo Adachi, who is the character designer and animation director for Sword Art Online, and also the character designer on the recent Pompo the Cinephile movie, which I thought was incredible. And Shingo Adachi is making his directorial debut with this show, and I'm thinking it's a great first impression.
Yeah, the show does look good, so I'd say he's doing a pretty good job.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
All right.
Any other thoughts on Recoil?
Nope.
I mean, I thought
not
like
really.
the opening was pretty good. Like, I think when me and Lou were watching it, we thought that was pretty like, we watched this one together, but we thought like, the opening was actually pretty good, which is made by Claris. If you know who that is, mainly known for making more of the,
Aramanga Sensei.
Yeah, those type of openings, Oremo, and then like, Aramanga, and then the Monogatari openings and stuff like that. The more incest type of anime, but we move.
Well, they're graduating from incest to Yuri,
yeah,
so they're
high
developing
key.
taste.
They're developing taste, yeah.
This guy also was able to get it, bro. Instantly heard the voice, bang, knew the name.
Yeah, I mean, you got to know who Claris S is,
I never heard of them till you said the name that time.
Is it pronounced Claris S or Claris?
I say it both ways. It's like Spy X and then Spy Family. Sometimes Spy Times Family. It's just
Spy
depends
Times? Who says Spy
multiplied
Times?
by family.
Spies multiply by family.
You need to say
Claris
Spy
S
X
did
fam.
the Nisei Monogatari ending, right?
Yep.
Oh, I love that ending. Okay.
Wow. Spy Times family. That's the first. That's like saying Hunter Times Hunter.
You get Hunter.
I know people who say Hunter x Hunter, and they should be.
I say
castrated.
Hunter X Hunter.
Well,
oh no!
Oh god.
Well,
Time.
hand him over.
Snip,
You've
snip,
lost your
snip.
testicle privileges. We cannot afford to allow you to.
Bro, you guys just don't
Very
understand.
graphic.
Yeah.
Bro, you guys just don't understand. That shit gives you power.
Fact.
I get a rush just allowing people to hear me say Hunter x Hunter and seeing them react.
Bro, for real, man. I feel like Superman.
I feel like Batman.
But get this: Hunter multiplied by Hunter.
Hunter squared.
Wouldn't it just be Hunter's? I like to say Hunter, Square.
Square.
Yeah.
There we go.
because it's mathematically accurate.
True.
Can't wait to watch some Haunted Square.
I feel like we've gotten way off track with this discussion.
Here, Crunchy, go ahead and get us into the Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting.
So when I saw the premise of this show, I thought that this was going to be the second show after Call of the Night that I was going to like super de-duper recommend and be like, this is incredible. It's not bad. It's not really good either. So there's this Yakuza guy. He's, super intense, and he likes basically he's like intense even for Yakuza standards. His boss is literally like, you're competent. I'm not gonna fire you because you're just that good at doing your job, but could you maybe tone it down a little bit? Could you maybe like not kill people for no reason? So in order to help him soften up and learn responsibility, he basically gets given this child whose mother died, who he has to now take care of. And so antics ensue, basically. He tries to understand the child's feelings. There's like the scene where some people who have a grudge with him because of him being a Yakuza, they try and they want to kidnap the child, basically, in order to use her as a hostage, in order to get whatever out of the main character that they need. And then the latter half of the episode is taken up with an arc where he's trying to the child is basically feeling very down. She's feeling sad, and they basically try and figure out why. Well, okay, it's because like her, I think, makeshift parents are like can't go to some school thing she has going on, and so the Yakuza main character goes instead, and they like bond over that, and that's basically the entire plot of the episode. Any thoughts on that?
It has Yakuza in it,
If you're lamenting Way of the House Husband's tragic death, I suppose this is an okay substitute.
Yeah, this is just alright, really.
I mean, oddly enough, I have the first 3 volumes of Way of the House Husband. I haven't read them yet, but I have the volumes, and I want to read it super badly. And the entire time...
you have...
Huh?
I was just gonna say, you have the superior way to consume Way of the House Husband, because the Netflix show
on my
sucks.
Bookshelf.
Legit, honestly, and it's so quick too. You probably finish it within like 45 minutes, probably 30 minutes, really, if you actually read it.
For real.
It's a really quick read. I promise you that.
Like 45 minutes per volume?
No, the whole 3 thing. You probably finish that within like 30
God.
45 minutes. Unless you just like sit there and look at the art, then you'll probably be with it like pretty quickly. It's like not much dialogue at all.
So what gets me about this show, right, is that it doesn't really spend much time getting me to connect with the main character at all. We get shown that he's intense, and then we're immediately on to the child antics. In that sense, it just sort of feels kind of weak, kind of like not trying to invest me in it at all.
It does kind of feel like it's one of those father figure type of I gotta be like the father figure to this daughter character kind of show, kind of made like in a factory. Like we've gone through the default settings and we've just slapped a Yakuza theming over it.
See, like thinking back to Usagi Drop, right? We spent an entire episode of Usagi Drop at like the funeral for the child's grandpa, like the grandpa, or I guess her father, and to the main character's grandpa. Like we spent an entire episode at that funeral wondering like, oh, who's gonna take the child, and getting used to the main character and getting used to the child's personality. We spent that much time engrossing ourselves into who these people are, and then here we get it done in like 4 or 5 minutes, and it's like, well, that kind of sucks. And another thing that really put me off about this show, at first I felt it as a sort of like things are just happening feeling, and that's partially just because it's going through the motions. But there's another aspect of it, which is that the way the OST is put onto the show is really weird in a sense, where there's sort of a disconnect between the OST and what's actually happening on screen. And the best scene I can use to describe this is when They're on a walk. The main character and the daughter, and there's these people who have a grudge against the Yakuza, and he's like, "Here, I'll take care of them." So he basically has her play red light, green light, where she like puts her head against
Squid
the
Game.
She puts her head against a pole and says like red light, green light, or whatever. And while she has her head on the pole, he takes care of them and then gets back in time for her to say green light or whatever, or like red light or something like that. I'm not used to playing red light, green light where you have your face to a pole. I've never played it like that. But apparently that's how you play it in Japan or whatever. So while she has her back turned, he takes care of them, easy peasy. You'd think it's like this, high octane, like comedic scene. You put like a lighthearted OST over it, maybe, one of those like slice of life OSTs signaling like, here's some wacky antics happening. It's like this hard rock death metal OST. Why? And what that does...
The Yakuza. They're hardcore Yakuza beating the shit out of each other.
But It's not portrayed as an action scene or like a cool scene. It's portrayed as a comedic scene. There's not much emphasis placed on the actual beating up and how metal that is. It's more, it feels like a joke scene. And so there's this sort of disconnect between the OST and what's actually happening on screen. At least that's the feeling I got. That is a little subjective, so maybe you guys didn't feel it, but I noticed it pretty bad and it was annoying me.
Really? I don't know. I mean, like I'm kind of like a sucker for like the whole, Yakuza X, like, something that shouldn't be like Yakuza related, the whole like house husband thing, like, Yakuza as a house husband and Yakuza as a caretaker. That's, also kind of like, something I like a lot because I find it like a bit more funny because you have this like, badass Hearthstone, like, criminal person that's like, in charge of like, something that's very like, not considered like in that kind of realm as them,
Yeah, I get why that's like sort of an inherently funny premise, but for me this show just felt so weak with it.
I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't like, too strong, but like for me, like I kind of like could follow along with it and somewhat enjoy it because like I've seen an anime similar to it called Hinamatsuri, if you know what that is. Basically the
I have not seen that one yet, but I definitely need to.
Yeah, I've heard great things about it.
It's actually this.
It lives up to the hype.
Way better. Yeah.
Yeah, it lives up to the hype.
Yeah, it's the whole a charismatic like Yakuza that is like feared by a bunch of his enemies and like is worshipped by like his comrades and people like look up to him, people fear him, and then they find themselves stuck with like a young girl that they have to take care of.
You know what I hate about this show? The main design. Also talking about the Yakuza Guide show. The main guy and his friends. They all reek of Tumblr sexy man energy.
Oh.
Wow.
I can see where you got that from. Personally, I did like the child's design. That's a really solid character design. She was cute. I also like how she isn't just the default, like cheerful kid character. Although, to be fair, she is also just kind of the default deadpan lolly character. So, not really a great trade there. But, I mean, hey, at least it's not as generic that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think...
No, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Right, you can go ahead.
No, you can go.
All right, yeah, okay. So I would say like one of the things I just like the most is that when I was looking into this anime, I went on Mal, because as any normal person would do when they're looking into something, unless you use AniList. But then, yeah, okay. Either way, I was looking at the themes at this, and the first thing I saw was childcare. And then right next to it, I saw organized crime as well. So I was like, oh my god, nice. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Organized child crime.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Neil?
What I was gonna say is that you hit the nail on the head. Summing up my thoughts on the show, it's serviceable, but I was like the whole time I was watching, I was just like, man, I haven't finished Kakashi Goto yet, and I haven't seen Hinamatsuri yet, and I feel like I would enjoy those shows more than this one. Not to say this one is bad. I wouldn't call it a bad show. I would just say it's weak in comparison to its ilk.
I was one of those people who wasn't head over heels for Kakushi Goto, and this is still way better than that. Or like Kakushi Goto was way better than this. This show is just very boilerplate standard, probably very boring as you continue it, and all the charming aspects wear thin.
I was honestly a bigger fan of Daimon.
Oh, I was a way bigger fan of Daimon. Like Daimon nuked this show, toasted it, buried it 10 feet under. Like Daimon destroys this with like just his pinky finger.
Yeah, because now that I'm thinking about it too, they both have similar like last scenes with the Yakuza coming out to the open house to help the girl when she's all alone, and then the brother in Daimon coming out with his guitar and his goofy suit to help the little sister character when she's trying to sell the food out in the streets. But I was way more in love with Daimon because it had a lot more charm and a lot more like loving appeal to it, for lack of a better description.
The characters are just better in Daimon. The themes are a bit more intricate. It's funnier. It has way more charm. Like this is just flatline to me.
Oh yeah, you know what actually helps? The girl in Daimon has a personality, whereas this one's just kind of a cute little girl. And that's
way
it.
more personality than this one for sure. I guess the one in what was this called? Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting. I guess she has a little bit of personality in the sense of being deadpan and meek, but it's like the second most generic personality she could have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all the thoughts that I have on the show.
Yeah.
Same here.
I did not take many notes for that one because I just watched it and let it like pass through me.
It is basically what the show is kind of for. Just just sit there and just watch, and just let it just like go in one ear, come out the other. You might get a laugh or two from it, and then yeah, that's basically it.
Nothing screams investment like passive enjoyment.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I think it was on Netflix too. I didn't watch it on Netflix. I watched it on, a website.
I watched it on Crunchyroll.
I remember.
I don't think it's on Netflix.
Is it on Netflix?
I know the House Husband anime is on Netflix.
Yeah.
Because they fucking killed it.
No,
That's where it went to
the
die.
Yakuza one
pissed me off.
was. I remember seeing the N on it on the totally legal website I used.
Yes.
Maybe it's on both.
The legal website that we all use.
The legal.
Yeah, we're all very legal.
Well, this next one I have a good number of notes about. How familiar are you guys with RWBY?
I've seen the original Rooster Teeth one.
Yeah, I watched the original one.
How far did you guys get?
To volume 6, I think.
Season 2 or season 3, and then gave up.
All right, I'm the only one then that came into this show without ever having seen anything RWBY before this, except for H Bomber Guy's severely negative review of RWBY.
Oh
so,
God.
You can't. I'm definitely most interested to hear your take on Ice Queendom then.
Oh gosh, yeah.
All right, I guess I'll start. So I watched the first episode of this, and I thought it was okay. I like the character designs, and Shaft always does a at least decent job with the visuals. This isn't nearly as stylized as something like Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei or a Hidamari sketch or anything like that. But you've got a few of the Shaftisms, like the head tilt, and like the very ornate backgrounds. So if you're a Shaft fan, you'll see its influence here, even if it is one of their less good looking shows, but it still looks fine.
All right, hang on, real quick. I just want to conduct an experiment because you brought up the character design, so I just want to go down the list real quick. Crunchy, what did you think of Yang's design?
Which one is that?
The blonde one.
Shotgun wrist.
I thought she looks pretty.
Mm.
All right,
it's a good, solid design.
Mm.
All right, Austin and Loot. What did you think of Yang's design in this one?
I don't know. It was a little bit different from like the original one.
The original one, yeah.
But I don't know. I didn't have much of a problem with actually like any of their designs, me personally. But I don't know. What do you think? What, like, was there something?
I thought
I
it looked completely fine. I mean, at least they kept the hair
I
the
thought
same.
Yang got. I think they butchered Yang the hardest. My biggest problem is like with her is her face. I feel like they fucked up her face the most because it feels like she always has this dopey smile on her face, and like Yang was like upbeat, like confidently smiling in the original RWBY as well, but like it was a lot more. There's a lot more ferocity and confidence in that smile, but like now it feels like she's just kind of a dope.
I mean, like, for me, like, okay, so when I saw Yang, I thought more, okay, she looks a bit more elegant and girly rather than like the tomboy character she is, and like, like with the whole like original RWBY, like I get what you're saying with that, like I don't know, I'm not sure, like it's just like, I still didn't see much of a difference with it, just that, just
because like most everyone else's design kind of went through pretty good. I like RWBY, Weiss, and Blake's designs.
Blake's design is pretty on point in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like Weiss translated the best. Because I feel like the weird thing about it is like, because you're going from 3D to 2D, so some things are gonna get lost in translation. I feel like what suffered the most here are the faces. Like I feel like the lips are like really, the mouths and the lips are like, everyone has smaller mouths and lips because like before they would be proportional to their faces, but now because we're in anime land, they gotta be small mouths.
But I don't know, like I wasn't the biggest fan of like, so like Rooster Teeth's like later on the volumes, I thought they looked pretty nice, like with the whole animation, but like the first ones I wasn't the biggest fan of, like the way like animation and characters look, especially like the animation.
So here's the $1 million question: is Ice Queendom a acceptable substitute for the original RWBY, or did the original do it better?
I mean, I don't know, like how many.
I think the original did it better. I think original did it better.
Of Ice Queendom, there are like 3 episodes out,
and it's
right
just
now.
Basically summing up everything from like volume 1 and 2, right?
I did not make it to episode 3. I just watched the first 2. Because then I watched it and I was like, look at how they massacred my boy. Which is crazy because I don't even like RWBY anymore.
Yeah.
I dropped it after volume 5.
I know that a lot of RWBY fans are really, really pissed about this adaptation. You see it in the Mal reviews. They're all either giving it shit scores or mediocre scores. I think one guy might have given it like a 7. So a public opinion.
Wow, what a shit score.
Not great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would say like the original is like honestly like way better. Although like I don't mind much of the art style too, except like some characters, they do look like a lot different. Obviously, like you said, going from 2D to 3D, going from 3D to 2D. But I don't know. Like usually I'm not one to like really like spite an anime for that. And I'm also not either like the biggest RWBY fan ever too. I just like I've watched it because I've heard of it, and I thought it was fairly pretty good.
I was a big RWBY fan up until volume 4, where I was like, okay, the direction they're taking the show is a little weird, but I suppose I've been this invested, I might as well stick through it a little more. Then season 5 happened. I was like, I don't care anymore.
Oh yeah, and it took me a while to get there too, to get that out.
And it's a shame because season 3 was like really fucking good.
Yeah, everyone really likes season 3. All right, this is a really like small comment, but my favorite part of the designs is that they all have the Steins Gate eyes, which I think look cool.
Yeah, they do have very glassy, reflective eyes.
Yeah, true.
I can't believe the RWBY fanboys won in the end, and RWBY was an anime the whole time. It's been put to rest.
Yep.
Or have they lost now because now there's an actual RWBY anime, so now we can point to that being like, no, see, that's anime, and RWBY the show, the original, is something else.
All I'm gonna say is if you want to get into RWBY, just watch the originals. It's just as like I think it's better.
So what I've heard about the original show and its appeal, and what I heard about the adaptation, is that the Monty fight scenes are basically the highlight of the show. They're very fast and frenetic, and everyone loves them. And that Ice Queendom, I mean, first of all, the guy's dead, so obviously he can't be working on it. Unfortunately, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Was gone too soon.
So they have to sort of replicate that style in animation, and also that the adaptation severely basically puts a lot of content from the originals into a very small space, very much rushing things. That's what I've heard about the adaptation.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, it's rushed and they fuck up a lot of shit because of it.
So I guess I'll start off with my perspective so that you guys can tell me all the ways in which the original did it better. So my perspective on RWBY so far is that it is a series of most lacking a lot of context action scenes that look fine. They're not too they're not bad looking.
I don't mean to cut you off just at the beginning, but see, that's like exactly where the problems begin. You say as an outsider they're lacking a lot of context, but if you like when you have the original to compare it to in your mind, it's like night and day. It's like,
all right,
because what they do in episode 1 is that they combine all of the trailers. They're not starting with episode 1 of like RWBY the show proper. They're doing the they do both. They do the trailers. They don't do RWBY's first trailer, which is a fucking sin, by the way. They don't do RWBY's, they don't do Yang's, they do Weiss and Blake's, and then episode 1 of RWBY, which is a goddamn travesty, because the RWBY trailers, the red, white, black, and yellow trailers, are probably the greatest trailers for anything ever.
I know.
Am I wrong to say that?
I wouldn't say you're necessarily wrong.
I wouldn't
either.
say you're wrong.
That.
I haven't seen the trailers outside of what little
they're on
was
YouTube. You can look them up.
In H-Bomber, yeah, I know they're on YouTube. I saw what little there was in H-Bomber Guy's review, because that's my only exposure to this franchise. I mean, what I saw of them, they looked good, and I heard him describe how completely and utterly hyped everyone was when they saw them.
Yeah, so what Shaft did is that they were like, if they wanted to cut the RWBY trailer, fine, I suppose like episode 1 can serve as a good enough introduction. I suppose that was the least necessary one, even though the action in it was good. It's the ones with Weiss and Blake that they cut out a lot of the context. They managed to keep Weiss's intact enough with the context, but like Blake, we're getting the Cliff Notes version with Blake. And like that's kind of a problem, because like the thing about the trailers is that they were the perfect introductions to our 4 main characters. We got to get a lot of insight into their personalities, just with their behavior and how they fight and the people they surround themselves with. So with Blake, Blake and Yang, because we don't get Yang's at all. Yang does not get an action scene. So they get neutered the hardest, whereas we're only introduced to RWBY and Weiss. Like, what can you tell me about Yang in episode 1 of RWBY Ice Queendom that you can tell me that you could get more from, as opposed to the yellow trailer?
Well, the silence probably indicates not much.
Not much, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, I was kind of disappointed that they kind of got shafted, both like Blake and Yang especially. I mean, like
shafted,
shafted.
Ha. Yeah. So like I like RWBY, and to be honest, out of the 4 of them, Blake is probably my favorite character, and like Weiss being my least favorite. Although I do like them like all pretty well, but yeah. I don't know. I just feel like like this whole like shifting the focus of like onto like Weiss's like perspective more. It's a bit I
mean, it is called Ice Queendom.
Yeah, like it's a bit more like goes onto like it like it's not like a psyche or something, but it's like inside her mind, like what she's thinking and stuff like that. Just like her whole like perspective of it, which is like, yeah, you could say that's interesting because you're getting to see like what Weiss was thinking, like from the start of whatever of RWBY. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much to say. All I can say is just like, I like the original a bit more.
Yeah, I agree with what Austin says with how it's like because it shifted to Weiss' perspective, it just feels way different. Like I thought I liked it when it was like more focused on RWBY and like Arc and all of that. I'm not a fan of the Weiss switch.
Well, is it even really a switch though?
No, it's barely a switch.
I only watched the first 2 episodes.
It's barely a switch.
But and I know from the synopsis that it's going to like be a Weiss-centric story. They're gonna go off the timeline and they're gonna focus more on Weiss than the original did. But like if you had told me that, if you had removed the Ice Queendom subtitle from the show and just told me that this is just a 2D anime adaptation of RWBY, I would have been like, I would have never guessed for a second that it was supposed to be Weiss-centric.
I mean, I guess Weiss's part of the episode is like the most complete, and intricate narratively. It has the most going on from that perspective, at least from what I was able to pick up on. You get some little glimpses into her home life, and sort of that like her parents don't want her going to the school, but she proves herself and ends up going to the school. Although personally, my favorite fight scene was actually the one with RWBY, just because she wields a scythe, and I think scythes are cool as shit. And that was
oh boy, if we ever get to Steven Universe, do I have the character for you?
And that was also the most frenetic fight scene. It felt the most fast-paced and visceral, and it never felt disorienting either, which I really appreciated, because a lot of the times when these shows go super fast-paced, chaotic, frenetic, it's like you sort of lose what's even happening. In this fight scene, it was always easy to know, like, okay, and now RWBY's doing this, and she does that to that guy, and it's very simple to follow along with, and very clear what's happening. And also, this is just funny. The moon is collapsing to dust. I wonder what that's symbolism for.
I wonder.
The show is in I feel like the worst part about the show, aside from just it cutting out key moments, including moments with best boy character John. They completely cut out the interaction of RWBY and John from episode 2, which is like
the whole like when they're in the little like thrown into the woods and stuff like that. The whole interaction they had.
No, not when they're in the woods. When they're getting to Beacon for the first time, because like what the show does is that when it opens with the forest trial, whereas when in the actual show, they get to Beacon, have their little orientation, and then they do the forest game.
Yeah.
Because that show was actually paced well.
Yeah.
And so what Shaft ends up doing is that they cut this incredible interaction between RWBY and John, who we will then go on to be the leaders of their respective teams, and they get this cool little heart-to-heart where Jean is like, we get this glimpse that he's not very capable or competent, but is still like trying to get by, and RWBY is able to like have this little powwow with him, being like, oh, your weapon is just a basic sword and shield that doesn't really like transform into a gun. And like Jean's like, I know it's not that cool, and it's like, but RWBY's like, oh no, it's all right. Like it's cool that some people have an appreciation for the classics, and it's this really adorable, cute moment that gives us an insight to their relationship and them as characters. And Shaft was just like, not important. Cut it out.
Get the hell out of here. Yeah, I don't think did they even mention the part about like like why that's like the whole sword and shield is important to like John, like with the whole like...
Nope, he's just a guy with a sword and shield.
Yeah, I was about to say like because at least that gave a bit more meaning to it, and like like I kind of liked John's character development from like RWBY a bit.
He's the best character in the show.
Best character in the show, literally, and him with Pyrrha. Don't get me started, but yeah, either way.
They're fucking rushing the Pyrrha shit.
Oh yeah, dude, I was like low key pissed about that. Cause I'm like, yo, we get Pyrrha again. I mean, kind of pissed, but like that they had to rush it, but still. Yeah, I don't know. I like John as a character, but I hate to see that they actually like skip that whole part about like why his like sword and shield is important. Well, it's important to him because his grandpa was a huntress, and that's what he used before that the whole sword and shield thing.
I mean,
It's also really
I'm a Monogatari fan who's watched both the anime and read the novels, so I know a thing or two about Shaft cutting out important content.
They shaft them.
Shaft really shafted their own anime, man.
For real.
Yeah, but at least like granted, I'm not a Monogatari fan, so I can't speak on it. But at least the Monogatari series are like generally well praised by the fans, whereas RWBY fans are in two minds about it. Because like there are moments where like the show does look good, like the animation on some of the fight scenes does look good, but when they're not in the fight scenes and they're kind of like in just like the normal static shots, sometimes it kind of looks like actually bad. Like there's this one shot where like they're running in the forest from the Grim, and and only the background is moving, but the characters are like running in place.
Yeah,
and it looks awful.
That is a byproduct of Shaft being pretty much a sinking ship at this point. Like they are running out of money, talent, like all of their animators left because Shaft is run like shit and has very, very, very tight deadlines to the point where they were literally releasing shows to air in completely like unfinished states. So that is.
I mean,
why.
you're telling me Monogatari just had straight up animation frames put in the show? Like, how lazy can you get?
It's not
I'm
laziness.
being facetious.
It's just run poorly. Very strict deadlines. Monogatari was unfinished when it aired. Like there were literally frames that said like missing animation or something along those lines.
I thought that was purposeful.
It was not purposeful. Like they disguised
it's okay.
it well.
They released JoJo Part 5 in an incomplete state and people lapped it up.
Yeah. Okay. Don't get me started on that.
It's okay. Part 5 needed 3 different recap episodes.
Yeah.
The butt rock is missed in the show. Mythanoid is a fitting substitution for the vibes of the show, but like the butt rock was part of the charm.
I agree.
Another thing. What was up with all the transitions? Like there were a lot of very like oddly smooth transitions between scenes. Or like,
I mean, it was it was like that in the original.
Huh?
It was like that in the original. I'm pretty sure there was transitions as well.
Okay. So that's like a carryover from the original show?
I'm pretty sure. I remember there being like slight transitions.
All right.
I think so, yeah. Grant, season 1 and season 2 are very janky. Season 1 especially.
Oh, God.
I'm very sad that Shaft did not take notice of the fans and given to fan demand to recreate the legendary cookie scene.
Oh, dude.
I was very disappointed when she. I don't even think she eats the cookies at all. Like they give her cookies and she just doesn't eat them.
No, yeah, Ozpin comes in with a plate of cookies, and I was like, "Oh, here it comes. She's gonna eat the cookies." And nope, they didn't listen to the fans, and that's why the show fucking sucks. But they made sure to maintain Weiss being a racist, so that they paid attention to that detail.
Right, hold on. Here's something weird. I'm looking through the directors, right? Chief director Kenjiro Okada. Director Toshimasa Suzuki. Where's Akiyuki Shinbo?
Shinbo worked on this?
Shinbo,
or did you say where is Shinbo?
Yeah, where is Shinbo? Because this is a Shaft show, and it doesn't have Shinbo.
Okay, I might be wrong about this. Did Gen Urobuchi work on this show?
Yes, he was the original plan.
Okay. What the fuck, Gen?
Blame him. But like, where's Shinbo? That's weird to me.
That is weird. What was the last thing Shinbo did also?
I'd have to look, but probably like Pretty Boy Detective Club or something like that.
Oh, okay, yeah, that all right. That was it.
No, it was actually he's the chief director of the. Is that an upcoming movie, or did it? Okay, he's the director.
Oh yeah, he's working on more
yeah.
Madoka.
Okay, he's too busy working on Madoka to give RWBY his attention.
The fucking opening of RWBY of Ice Queendom. It's a fucking clip show.
Oh yeah.
I don't even remember.
Like what the fuck? Like yeah, the song's fine, whatever. The visuals are all clips from the show.
Like I said,
with just like fancy ass filters.
Running out of money.
They're shafting their own show, man.
The only good thing is that they maintained Glinda Goodwin. She's just as sexy in 2D as she is in 3D. So she survived the transition unscathed.
I don't know, man. I've had my ups and downs with RWBY. Right now, this is probably one of my lowest.
I'm sad because I was excited. I saw the trailers and the animation because that's what they do. They only show the good cuts in the show, and I was like, ooh, is this gonna like revitalize my interest in RWBY? Obviously I'm never gonna fucking watch the actual show past season 3 again. But the whole time I was watching Ice Queendom, I was just like, man, I just want to watch the trailers and like the best parts of seasons 1 through 3 again. And then I did. Well, I didn't do that. I skimmed through the trailers and just watched the best parts. And yep, just watching the trailers was better than watching Ice Queendom.
And I don't know.
I would argue even with the jank of the 3D animation from the first season of RWBY, I would argue the fight scenes were better. Like they were a lot more kinetic. They were a lot more creatively directed.
I mean, everyone likes Monty's fight scenes. I thought they were okay, but I'm really not an action scene aficionado at all.
The best thing I can say is like what I felt is that like the OG RWBY, that was like mainly based on like fight scenes and stuff like that, while this one's a bit more on dialogue. Not saying there isn't fight scenes, but it's just a bit more dialogue-y, like heavy than it was in the original RWBY.
I mean, it's Shaft. Of course, it's dialogue heavy.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And the
stuff, yeah.
The thing about that though is that I remembered a bunch of lines from the first and second episodes that they just straight pulled from the original RWBY, and I remember being like, huh. I like the deliveries and the pacing of these lines were so much better in the original. Because, like, these ones, it feels like they're just saying it to, like, fill a quota. Like, when Nora says, I'm queen, look, Ren, I'm queen of the castle. That makes you the king. It was way better in season 1, where she, like, our introduction to Nora is, like, her doing this whole little, like, song and dance, being like, I'm queen of the castle, I'm queen of the castle. And Ren just being like, please, stop.
That duo is iconic right there.
Then again, Ice Queendom also doesn't have RWBY's original voice actor, so it's honestly either way which one you could prefer is to say is the better show.
Yeah.
And like,
because I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but RWBY's actual voice is nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard it before. It's awful.
He talks like this, very high pitched all the time. And the worst part about that is that, like, it's not that I have a thing against high-pitched voices, it's that she is incapable of emoting with that voice. Because, like, when a serious scene is supposed to happen, or a sad scene, where, like, RWBY can no longer talk like a chipmunk without it destroying the feeling of the scene, it's like, she can't do it. Like, you expect me to hear that voice being sad? No, it's just annoying. Yeah. Last note I have is they were able to do the Giga Armis, the giant suit of armor that Weiss fights in 2D, but the robots in the train and the with the Blake and Adam, those had to be CG.
Yeah, like
yep. That's all I have to say.
It's just, I don't know, like at CG they could have just pulled from the original, slapped that on there. Oh yeah, same thing.
Actually, yeah, that's what they should have done. If they were going to use CG, they should have taken the models, even if they didn't fit the art style at all. They should have just thrown the models in there.
Slap it on there.
Would have been better.
Would have been a better idea.
Well,
Yeah, I have like zero interest in continuing past episode 2. They like, I'm just getting a worse version of the original RWBY, which is saying a lot because season 1 is not good, not great.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. It was like 6 out of 10 material. My main problem was just that, like I said, a lot of lacking context action scenes that aren't particularly captivating. I didn't really feel myself being attached to the characters at all.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're right. You're right. The RWBY.
That's fair.
I prefer RWBY Fire King sub personally.
What's that one?
The joke is that I just wrote the opposites of everything in the subtitle.
Oh.
I thought it would have landed, but
I generally thought that was well.
I didn't really
mistaken.
get it.
Yeah.
Damn. All right. Next on the list we got Black Summoner, which I have a great. I got a bone to pick with this show.
I feel like everyone pretty much has a lot more to say about it than I do. And I even still have a decent bit to say about it, so I guess I'll let you take it away, Neon.
Yeah, all right. So, Black Summer is one of those shows that, like, these kinds of shows got me feeling like Popeye, you know? Because I've had all I could stands, and I can't stands no more. It's another one of those fucking, got reincarnated in another world, the overpowered isekai shows. And, you know, Sword Art Online came out in 2012. All right, like, it's actually been 10 years since Sword Art Online came out, and every year has 4 seasons in it. So we get new anime every season. So for 10 years, for 40 seasons, I've had to put up with these backwards ass, mouth breathing ass, creativity bankrupt ass, hack ass light novel writers, and the publishing companies and anime production committees that enable them. I've had to deal with the most boring, milquetoast self-insert teenagers getting run over by trucks, or struck by lightning, or getting their dick stuck in their electric vibrating waifu pillows, and getting transported, or resurrected, or reincarnated, or reshuffled into the most boring RPG fantasy worlds imaginable. I've had to deal with cute and sexy fantasy babes tripping over the protagonist's clinically limp dick for years, and taking away resources and manpower to shows that could actually use it, and draw unnecessary attention away from shows with actual ideas and soul. But no, we just gotta see another stat screen appear out of thin air with a hand wave for the 50th goddamn time. I'm sick of it. I'm fucking sick of it. I want names, damn it. I want fucking names. I want the names of the bastards who keep writing this shit, who keep greenlighting this shit, who keep animating this shit, because ooh, those 47 Blu-ray sales are gonna make it all worth it, boys. Meanwhile, the precious hours of the retards who watch this shit burn like wax on a candle as actually good shit passes them by, and they live their entire lives without ever watching Dragon Ball, ever watching Bebop, ever watching a fucking Ghibli. I would take 1,000 Demon Slayers before I have to watch one more piece of shit isekai with less thoughts running through its head than a spoon. So thank you, Black Summoner. Thank you for contributing nothing to the world and wasting everyone's time. You blight on the human race. Katakawa, kill yourselves.
So I thought it was a 5 out of 10.
It was mid.
It was alright.
I'm just tired, man. The first line of the show is like fucking, you ever heard of being reincarnated into another world? That is the #1 way for an anime to immediately be put on my shit list.
Admittedly, that was kind of funny. So, first of all, that was legendary and needs to be clipped. And second,
if there's ever a highlight reel that I decide to make for the podcast, I'll go through, get all the good
that
clips.
and like the one you said about the Lolly show,
The ghost show.
yeah, Lolly Ghost show. those two need to be instantly on there because those are legendary. So this was actually like I was kind of vibing with this. I admit that it is like completely middle of the road.
You are part of the problem.
Uninteresting. Yeah, maybe I am. It isn't. There's no way I finish it. All right, there's no way I get to the end without dropping it. I'm probably going to give it another episode, but I genuinely don't think I'll make it past episode 2.
I made it 5 minutes and I wanted to blow my brains out.
I'm gonna stay watching it. It's not something that makes me cringe, you know? It's just a guy just being OP. I was like, I might as well carry on.
There's 100 other shows just like it. What makes this one so fucking special?
The thing. If you're looking for a guy, here's why I think it's completely middle of the road instead of abjectly terrible. All right, and Lute said he was in here for like a guy being OP. I disagree. What made me not completely hate this show was the fact that, it like little details like he tries to take on the slimes, but they're stronger than he expected, or like how his partner like admittedly he does have one of those special powers because he's the main character syndrome, blah, blah, whatever. It is what it is. But he uses that power to get a slime that's infinitely stronger than he is. And so, even the fact that he's, like, infinitely weaker than his non-speaking partner, like, admittedly, the one part that did make me kind of groan, like, audibly groan, is that, like, near the end of the episode, they introduce yet another fucking slave girl. Because every isekai has to have that. Now, it's an isekai. Of course it has one of those. We just want Raptalia
Shield Hero
too.
did it. Shield Hero is popular. Now everyone has to do it.
Was Shield Hero really that good?
No, it wasn't, but it was popular.
It wasn't.
It was
does
popular.
everyone really like that show this much?
It was Who cares if they like it? It's popular. It sold well.
Hey, the show was good. I like how in isekais they rag on elf people the most, and it's crazy.
Bro, just admit
I fucking love elves.
What the hell?
It's so mad. They got a different ear shape, so now they're slaves. That was actually crazy.
It's mental if you think about it.
I think my favorite bit from the whole 5 minutes of the episode that I watched was the guy got reincarnated into the world with no memories of his past life, yet was able to deduce that he was in another world, because having 0 memories of your past life means you just are able to discern that shit. Even though he shouldn't be able to tell the fucking difference if he has no memories.
That was one bit that, like, I couldn't buy into because the show just did not explain it. So apparently all his memories are gone, right? So theoretically, he shouldn't be able to even understand a thing. Like, breathing should be a new concept to him because he doesn't remember it. But
I'm not talking like that far. Like, I'm saying he shouldn't remember. If he doesn't remember his past life on Earth, then he shouldn't be able to tell that he is in a place different from Earth.
Yeah,
he should
there's
just
also
assume that the world that he's in has always been in. Because if he has no memories, he has no reason to assume otherwise.
I assume he was, like, reincarnated with, like, some ability to just but that would be a memory. That would be based on memory.
Amnesiacs don't forget how to breathe.
Well, yeah, that's, like, coded into your biology.
Yeah.
So, like, I get that much. But I mean, like, everything should be new to him, basically. Like, existing should feel new to him. Like, whoa, I was born 10 seconds ago. Wow, this is all new and exciting. Or something like that.
Should it, though?
If his
I feel like that was just kind of that was kind of
okay.
like
All he did was
nitpicking a bit.
It is a nitpick. Like, I'm able to enjoy the show in spite of that. Like, I don't actually care. But it is a little confusing because they don't try to, like, explain it at all.
I mean, like,
muscle memory. The thing is that he forgets more of his memories of, like, who he is as a person rather than like the whole concept of like, oh, he's like, oh, he should like not know how to breathe. I'm pretty sure people like you come out of the womb knowing how to breathe, otherwise you
I never said he shouldn't know how to breathe. Like, obviously, he should know how to breathe.
Bro, the show would be
Like-
done 5 minutes in if you didn't know how to breathe.
1 minute in, done.
That would be a really...
Yeah, an amnesiac like doesn't forget how to breathe, doesn't forget how to like their basic motor functions. They know what touch is. They just shouldn't have like memories of either like their life experiences or like who they are as a person, not that they are human.
Spitting.
For real. Go spawned in just to die instantly. Can't breathe.
I mean, maybe the show would be better like that, you know, to get a 5-minute
I would have
short.
applauded if he died in the first 10 seconds so we didn't have to watch the show.
But he definitely remembers a lot more than I'd expect someone with no memory to remember. Or at the very least understands more. But, like
My
I
biggest
said,
complaint-
nitpick.
But my biggest nitpick is that this show is not about a grand wizard of the KKK summoning African Americans in another world.
Whoa.
False advertising much?
whoa.
Twitter is
It's-
going to... You are
Whoa,
treading
I'm just
that
saying,
line.
That's a
I read the title. I expected something else. I think this is grounds for false advertising.
I don't know
We're gonna
what
get
you got from the
destroyed.
title,
We're gonna
but
get destroyed on
man.
Twitter.
Wow.
All right, Twitter, if you hear this, I fully endorse what Neon Manta just said. Come at me too.
we Viking style. We go out together.
The Castaway Brotherhood.
That is all I care to say about Black Summer. Y'all got anything else?
I have a few
I
other
do not
things I noticed
condone
about
what
the
Manta
show,
say.
but
Neither can
you
I.
don't condone it. Oh,
I
you
do not
pussy.
condone it at
We
all.
at the Great
That's what I had to
Oceania
say.
and Kyosaber do not recognize the views of Castaway anime. It does not reflect the views.
The last thing I'd want to say is that the fact that I thought this was middle of the road is less a testament to this show's quality and more a testament to the lack of quality in isekai in general. Because I think, like, my final note right here is that, like, this perfectly middle of the road show is actually pretty entertaining to me and, like, one of the best seasonal isekai I've seen ever since this podcast began. But it's still completely middle of the road and like, not good at all. I highly doubt it'll be good in the end, but I'm willing to give this a 2-episode test. That is my final note.
Actual insanity.
So
I don't know.
basically, screw isekai. That's my final thing to say.
Anyone else got anything left to say about Black Summoner?
Not in the slightest, bro.
No, there's not much to say about this.
Yeah.
All right, then, Crunchy, go ahead and take Demon Slayer Season 3.
That was the Bucchigire. So it begins with this, basically this guy, you know, he's kind of brash or whatever, and I'm actually trying to remember what happened in the show. So it starts...
How many notes did you take?
It starts with, let me see. It starts with, oh no, it's CG. Oh god, oh fuck, which I don't even remember what that came from. Oh, and then my second note is it's ... not question mark CG question mark. So I don't even know
That's
what
very
I was.
specific and helpful.
I don't remember what my past self even wrote there. So, but it begins with some people about to get, you know, I think like killed or something, or at the very least injured, harm done upon them by these dudes with a mask and a sword. And then this guy comes in and he's like, "Don't do that. I'm gonna kill you." And then he gets arrested and about to get beheaded. But as it turns out, the person who's beheading them is part of, I think, the Shogun, either the Shogun or the Bakufu. I don't actually know Japanese history that well, but one of the two. And so he's about to get beheaded, but the guy's like, "Look, we need you on our side. You all are like these rapscallions, these criminals, but you're strong, and we need your strength to help with our cause. We're going to overthrow the Japanese government. We're gonna just completely nuke their asses, and you're gonna help us with that. If you help us. Like, if you choose to not die at this moment. So, it goes through all of these other people who are about to be beheaded, and it's essentially our cast introduction sequence. There are all these wacky characters, like the blue guy likes killing people, and the yellow guy who's fat is for some reason just a stereotypical depiction of a mentally handicapped person. I don't know what that was about.
I didn't get the sense that he was mentally handicapped. I thought he was just the stereotypical food good fat character.
Well, he's also that. He's just a very bizarre character. I'm not meaning to be offensive here by any means. It's the show being stereotypical, not me. Or maybe it is me. Maybe I am the problem. But anyway, moving on from that. Every character gets introduced. There's like the white-haired girl, Akira. I don't know why I remember her name.
So we some kind of Suicide Squad.
Pretty much. And eventually they get to the main character, and he's like, I hate samurai. I don't want to become one of them because in my epic tragic backstory, my parents, they got killed by masked samurai. But then the dude's like, oh, but we're also out to kill the masked samurai. And he's like, okay, I'm in.
He's like, lit.
Epic based. And so they have like this, I honestly forget what the rest of the episode was about. They like, if they do some kind of mission, I genuinely forget what the mission was about, but they did a mission. They suicide squatted.
Not a lot happened in the episode. I'm pretty sure that the opening spoils that the red-haired dude's younger brother that we see in his flashback is the blonde-haired purple bad guy that we see in the show.
I honestly did not pay attention to the OP at all.
Same, I skipped it.
So
I mean, it wasn't good, but it definitely is like it's a real JoJo Part 2 opening moment where you gotta be, even if you have no experience or prior knowledge of the show at all, you'd have to be like actually blind to not see the blatantly obvious symbolism.
So it's one of those OPs. Okay.
Yeah. Damn.
If I paid attention, maybe I wouldn't have missed the blindingly obvious symbolism.
Neon,
Yeah.
do you endorse the KKK?
No. That was a joke.
Oh, that had me confused. I was like, wait, what is going on?
Oh no! Oh god! So for the last few minutes, did you like really think you were in the call with a racist?
I was just confused. No, I was just confused. I just didn't even know what was going on.
No, I was being facetious when I said the show was false advertising about not being a grand wizard summoning African, because the show's called Black Summoner.
Oh, okay, fair enough. It's a crazy joke, I must say.
That's why I endorse it.
A few moments later.
Yo.
The only moment I've ever had. Oh, Austin's back.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Neo, do you endorse the KKK?
No.
Alright, so something I found really funny about the opening scene, right, is that they keep on reusing the same animation that's like a close-up of the dude cutting the ropes. Like unbinding their hands by cutting the ropes with his sword. It's the same animation cut for all, like, what, 6 or 7 people? Except for the main character.
I think there's like 7 of them.
Yeah, like 7. Except for the main character, he breaks out of them epic style with just his fists alone. Yeah, fists in pure, unadulterated rage. But other than that, it's the same animation back to back, and it's like you can't unsee it once you see it.
And then, honestly, that shot was the least of this show's problems. My biggest issue with this show is that it feels like it's trying to be both a serious a samurai drama, but also a comedy.
Yeah, it's so bad in that.
Yeah, it's so bad that it's a joke.
I mean, it's definitely not funny. That is for sure. Comedy better be in like 50 fucking air quotes, because
It's like,
I don't think I laughed a single time.
Fact.
because like the easy target to compare this to is Demon Slayer, because it's about multicolored samurai fighting not necessarily demons, but there's a demon influence with these swords, I think, that turns people into like brainwashed zombie people. And it's like Demon Slayer is an action show with comedic elements, whereas this one feels like it's trying to be an even blend of action and comedy, with how all the characters interact with each other, and how like the red dude's like everyone's got a one-note personality trait. The red dude is a rambunctious, like headstrong good guy. The blue guy is the too school for cool assassin. The fat guy is the fat guy. The old thief is a thief, etc.
Honestly, I remember, like, actually the only other character, well, no, now it's coming back to me. There's like the priest. No, not the priest.
He's like a monk or something.
Yeah, monk. The monk who like is unholy and that's his thing. And then the woman who her thing is that she's a woman.
Yeah, she has the most interesting arc. If the show was about her and like you cut out all the other main characters and just make it anime Mulan with samurais.
I mean,
That'd
I'd
be badass.
watch that. But that would also be very far estranged from what this show is actually about.
I have before Akira showed up, I got a sneaking suspicion that this is one of those Fujo bait shows, because I was noticing a lot of different some of the characters came off as like Tumblr sexy man baits. Did anyone else get that vibe?
No.
I did not get that vibe at all.
The blue
more
guy.
Than 2 men in a show? What is this, Fujo bait?
Crazy.
Well, it's not that there's more than 2 men. It's just like it was exclusively men until Akira showed up.
I don't know. I didn't really get the Fujo bait vibes. I mean, maybe they'll get more physical later on, which, I mean, you know, maybe we'll have a Bisco situation on our hands where they're definitely gay.
No, I would not classify Bisco as like as a Fujo bait show, even though they were hard coding Bisco and I forgot Milo, I think his name was, or Milo or something, to be very much gay for each other. No, but this one just kind of like gave off the energy, sort of like I'm trying to think of like these kinds of Fujo bait shows off the top of my head. Banana Fish, Osamatsu-san, basically anything with like pretty boys.
And this is what you got from Bucchigire?
Yeah, kinda.
I didn't think most of them were pretty boys.
Yeah,
Like,
Well, like
Our guy Bo right here. Our guy Bo is pretty as fuck. I'm pretty sure.
The old thief and the fat guy are not, but like the doctor, the monk, the blue assassin dude, like that was the kind of vibe.
I'm trying to remember their designs even.
Which is weird because like I like the designs of the characters. I feel like the character designs are like the best part of the show, but I just can't get into it when it's trying to be equal parts comedic and action, but it's not good at either of them.
So the main thing that I noticed about this show right away is that the screen has like this filter over it to basically make the show look like this old, you know, sort of samurai drama. And I'm 2 ways about it. On the one hand, it looks more interesting than like your, you know, stock generic action show. On the other hand, the filter is like way too much. It needed to be toned down. At first I appreciated it. About halfway through the episode I was like, please just lower the opacity just a little bit. Just, it's so much. Or maybe even just remove the filter entirely. I honestly wouldn't mind seeing like these bright poppy colors without the filter in front of them. So I'm kind of split on the visuals. At the very least, it's of passable quality, even if it's not anything great looking.
Yeah, no, I just found it boring.
Only
thing that was running through my head was, when is this gonna end?
Yeah.
There is one other note I have about this show, which is that it kind of has themes going on. Like, I noticed a theme, which is the idea of changing the world for the better, which I know it sounds kind of broad, but it is kind of specific in the way it tackles it, which is that the main character's sort of opening, like the monologue that introduces what his character is about is like, it's like a Light Yagami, this world is rotten, sort of monologue where he's like, it's like fundamentally not okay. I was born into this world against my will, and it sucks. Someone ruined it way before I was here. And then the goal of I still don't remember if they're the Shogun or the Bakufu, but the people who are rebelling against the government, their entire goal is usurp the government, take the throne, change everything. So that, they're sort of aligned in that sense, and I think the show is going to explore. If it has even decent writing, it will see that and explore that theme going forward in the narrative.
Yeah, I don't know. I got Power Ranger vibes because of their hair.
Fair enough.
They are definitely well marketed. They're marketable designs.
Even though no one knows about this show.
I've not seen a single soul talk about, honestly, any of the shows past, let's see, RWBY Ice Queendom on the list. Yeah, that's about right.
Well, that's about all I have to say about the show.
Same.
Yeah, anyone else got anything?
Nope.
Not at all, really.
Alright, well, Austin, go ahead and take Phantom of the Idol.
Notice which one?
The Ghost Idol show.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I even watched that one.
Oh, you
Okay.
didn't. You couldn't make it to that one,
Dude, I didn't want to make it to that one.
Bro.
Just because
Did
of
you
the
see
title.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you perhaps see the word idol and then consider the possibility that swallowing a cyanide tablet would be a more productive use of your time?
Yes, honestly, because I'm like, shit, bro, another idol anime.
That's
Whoopsie-doo.
that's
Alright.
the correct response. But this
All
one
right,
is
Luke, go ahead.
I'm a-
Yeah, Luke, you can take
I'm
this
gonna be
one.
real, I wasn't really paying attention to the show. All I remember seeing about it was like the 3D animation when they were like performing, and I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Well,
That was
I'm not gonna
terrible.
lie. As soon as that came up in the episode, I closed the tab.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so
I was
I'm
like,
the only
oh,
one
so
who
this
watched
is-
this entire episode.
Bro watches idol anime crazy. Crazy.
I watched
actually.
one episode of idol anime for a podcast. I hope you can excuse me. Please forgive my sins. I beg of thee.
No, it's all downhill from here, bro. Next, you're gonna be watching Love Live before you know it.
Oh no. I'm just gonna become casual and Vlusky. Do you know how terrified I am of that?
Unforgivable. All right. So it sounds like none of us have too much to say about this show. So
I have a
long.
little bit to say about it. Not much, but a little bit. So the,
Alright,
the
go
show,
ahead, I guess.
Quick recap. Real speedrun hours. There's this guy in this idol duo. It's two male idols, and he's a complete scumbag. He hates his job. He doesn't care. He thought it was going to be an easy job that he could just coast through with his good looks. But no, idols have to actually do work. What? So he's like, he's tanking the popularity of the idol duo he's in, right? He is the weak link, and his company is constantly like, oh, we're gonna cut you out. You suck. Do your job, scumbag. So, he sits down on a bench and he's like, life sucks. Why do people expect me to do work? And then he sees the ghost of a dead idol. And it was at this moment that I was like, isn't this the plot of, like, because I remember seeing another idol show about a dead idol girl. Is this like a trope in idol shows?
I do not watch enough idol shows to make that dissertation, but I believe I do. Now that you mention it, I do think I remember a show. I couldn't tell you what season it's from. I also couldn't tell you the name of it to save my life. but I remember a very similar premise.
Yeah, I think we're talking about the same show, but neither of us could tell each other the title.
Probably because it wasn't memorable.
You mean Zombieland Saga?
Not
No,
Zombieland,
not absolutely not. Zombieland Saga has a hint of originality to it.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it's still, dead, idle,
Well, specifically a ghost one.
Oh, okay, yeah, never mind.
Although
anyway,
I guess maybe dead idol is a subgenre in and of itself.
Probably.
Maybe they're trying to tell us something.
Ew. So anyway, the idol's backstory is that she really loves being an idol, but then Truck-kun attacked and completely destroyed her life. But then she, through sheer force of will, right? She's the most overpowered character in fiction. She's like, no, I don't want to die. And Kirito'd her way into being a ghost. And so she spent about 1.5 years floating around with no one noticing her, which I imagine has to be like fairly traumatizing. Like, you don't talk to anyone, no one can notice you. But
it's typical ghost unfinished business material.
Yeah, but no one notices her. But the show sort of goes past any trauma that may have incurred, and she eventually, through whatever logic, I doubt there is any, the scumbag main character can notice this ghost, and also the ghost can possess him. So the ghost possesses him while he's doing idol stuff, and then for the rest of the time he can be, just his normal scumbag self. And the idea is that this is a symbiotic relationship where both parties benefit. The scumbag can have his easy life he always wanted, and the ghost idol can be the idol she wanted to be but couldn't be because Truck-kun. And so that's...
Now here's the real question. How do they fuck? Because that's the inevitable point that this show is going to reach, right?
What on earth are you talking about?
Masturbation.
The ghost girl and the idol dude. Like okay. that's like, don't pretend like anime has not tried to make crazier concepts a reality.
You know what? If the show goes that direction, I'm here for it. I'd watch that. But
you got to be off the bean if you think they're not gonna fall in love with each other at some point.
So what I like about this show, I don't like the show in general, but what I like about it is that, the main character has a personality and is kind of funny and endearing in some ways. Not as much as, like, to name another example, like Uramichi-san, the main character from that. Like, I liked him more. And, he, the main character from this show is kind of just a discount version of that now that I think about it. But pairing him with...
Oh my god, the character development. Crunchy's actually praising Uramichi.
Yeah, I know. Crazy.
1 year later.
But pairing him with a very cheerful character was also a good decision. Letting him be able to continue being a scumbag was, at the very least, fun. I probably would have continued it, except the CGI dance sequence was so horrendous that I want to pierce my eyeballs. So, and all of that was to say it's dropped.
I got a question for y'all fellas. Did the pink ghost girl remind you of the clown girl that's been going around making the rounds online recently from Ace Attorney?
I've never seen.
I think that was just you, man.
Other than Ace.
I feel like it was obviously the timing of it is a coincidence that the clown girl's been around for longer than the meme has, but she like, because of the meme, I look at the ghost girl, I'm like, yeah, this is just the Clussy girl from Ace Attorney.
Zombieland Saga was better.
Good
yeah,
words.
Perfect Blue is the best idol anime.
Yeah.
I have yet to see that, but I need to.
It's actually a masterpiece.
So what's the next show on the list?
It's an actual, honest-to-God TV show. It's Yurei Deco from Science Saru. Not by Yuasa, but by Tomohisa Shimoyama, who was the animation director for Night is Short, Walk On Girl.
Well, I know that Yuasa did have at least a small part in this show. Was it like planning or something like that? I'm trying.
Yeah, probably. I think Yuasa has at least like one finger in the pie of every Science Saru project.
Yeah, he was the original plan for the show. So, Neon, do you want to take it away?
Yeah. The main character looks like Tsubame from Eizouken, so this is already a win. The coolest thing about Yurei Deco is that it has something that most of these shows don't have. An original thought, or at least an original premise. It's, if you want to like compare it to things, I think the closest thing that reminds me of is Summer Wars, with all of like the different avatar designs. And if you want to get a little more contemporary, the recent Bell, the newest Mamoru Hosoda movie from Studio Chizu. But instead of like a virtual reality, it's like a kind of like an augmented reality, an AR world, with just the holograms printed over our real world. Except instead of wearing like special headsets, it seems like people have their eyeballs implanted with the things called the Deco, and it allows them to see all of the holograms. And it's not just like a game world. It's a social media app where, just like in real life, clout determines your status and wealth.
Yeah, the show is basically a sort of loosey-goosey metaphor, or I guess in a sense like a very direct metaphor almost, of like the chase for likes, in essence.
Like they equate, like I think they treat like these heart currencies, the love, as maybe not necessarily monetary, but like there's a level of notoriety you get with the with how much likes you have, or how many likes you have. And it's an actual problem where someone is going around causing people's likes to just disappear into the void and stealing from other people. Like, and it's not just like, if like a post that you make on Twitter that gets like goes kind of viral, if that were to suddenly disappear, like, it would suck in the moment, but it's not the end of the world. It's just a Twitter post at the end of the day. These people treat it like a crime has been committed.
Isn't
like,
that
hey,
like Twitter right now, though?
Clout. I mean, I have definitely seen the same Twitter post get the same exact post get popular from different people. Like, just 6 months later.
Bro, why are you describing any Twitter like that? That they won't like that.
I say as if I have not stolen a post from Instagram and then put my own text over it on Twitter and made it one of my most popular tweets to get thousands of likes and retweets.
Put your own watermark and everything on there.
I didn't go that far. I'm not a bastard. I just gave it an original caption.
Mental.
So there's this one dude in goggles, and he's going around stealing everyone's likes and causing mischief.
A girl, actually.
A girl, okay. And she seems to be like a metaphor, maybe 4chan trolling. I don't know, actually. That's the first thing that came to mind, at the very least.
I think what they're going with, I think her name is Hack. Everyone thinks she's like the infamous Phantom Zero who brings everyone's love down to zero. It's like a total troll. I think what they're going for is that everyone thinks they're a troll, but really she's like the one who sees through the system, man, and is like trying to break down, like, oh, everyone's misplacing their value in clout when they should be like caring for like the real people behind the screen, man.
Honestly, now that you say that, that seems like the correct interpretation. I think it's gonna go there. But for now, everyone thinks she's just a 4chan epic troller. So I guess in the end, 4chan really is our savior.
That is not good.
That's the message.
That is not good.
Yeah, I would not champion 4chan like that. I might be wrong about this. I heard it from one of my friends. I didn't look into it myself. Is 4chan like gonna shut down soon?
No, that was another troll.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
I
sounds
fell
right.
for it too.
I'd say mental if they do.
That's crazy.
That'd be crazy if they do.
We can't lose the green text, man.
No, can't ever. /A will always be there. in my heart.
So our main character Barry has a busted eye that makes her see the AR world of Yurei Deco all glitchy and fucked up. But this allows her to see Hack and try to chase her down because she's like real into the whole Phantom Zero controversy and she wants to get to the bottom of it. And both of these characters are just immediately likable and interesting. Barry's like honestly kind of just even more so than design a copy paste of Tsubame from Mazokin. She's kind of has like the same personality, but instead of having a passion for animation, she has a passion for this social media platform.
Honestly, I mean, I think Hack's kind of charming, especially with her design. Barry did not leave much of an impression on me. I don't think she's bad per se, but I'm waiting for her to sort of hook me. I'll probably watch another episode of this.
I'm definitely gonna be watching more of this.
I'm gonna say this is the anime of the year. Best anime to ever come out. It's honestly the greatest shit ever, and I don't think there will be anything better than this ever again.
See, now you're the one whose sarcasm game is stronger than mine, because I can't tell if you're trolling or not.
I'm not trolling. I'm actually not trolling.
Oh, he has to be trolling.
Nah, that
He's trolling.
Back me up, Luke. Back me up.
It's fire. It's fire.
He's become Hack.
It's literally the best, bro. Have you seen the animation on it, bro? Breath of fresh air right there. It's a breath of fresh air, colorful as fuck.
It's Science Saru, bro.
You know, honestly,
they actually
all
right,
go outside the grain.
Hot take though. I mean, I like the art style of Science Saru, right? But I'm not sure if I like the color design.
It is very all over the place, but I think that's kind of the point because it's like it's a mess. I wouldn't like the social media websites themselves are like on like Twitter is blue. Twitter has a very blue design. Facebook is very white and blue. YouTube is like red and white or red and black. 4chan is green. Like yeah, like the color theory or color design rather of the websites themselves have to be organized. But for like the content of the social media, it's like social media content is never uniform. It is very amorphous, very blob-like, and I feel like that's what they were going for this show.
It's definitely the point, yeah, like having all these contrasting colors. It's meant to be very like chaotic and messy, but I'm not sure if I completely like that. Like, it's at the very least a justifiable decision, and I do appreciate that about it, but I'm just not sure if I'm completely on board, even if it is justifiable.
I don't know how well versed y'all are with Western animation, but if I were to be the biggest asshole on the planet, I would say this show is reminiscent of Problem Solvers, but whereas that show is visual vomit, this one, like, there feels like a method to the madness. Like, they're not just throwing random colors and shapes onto the screen and different patterns and calling it a day.
Alright, but the one thing I do want to point out, I am looking at AniList. This show has an average score of 60%.
Yeah, that's a fucking crime.
Hold on, let me look at how much Black Summoner has. I need this comparison.
It has more, and that is exactly the problem that inspired that rate.
68.
I can't tell you why this show is not getting the attention it deserves, because this show is interesting, has a unique aesthetic, good background art, which is like 3 more things than most of the shows on this list have. That's 3 more things than the fucking Step Brothers show.
And yet that one is infinitely more popular.
And that's why we gotta do the right thing and show the sheeple what an actually good show looks like. I will say, I'm not as 100% immediately sold on this show like I was the first episode of Azukin, but there's something going on with this show that I gotta see to the end, because I can't see... Yeah, because this show has is original, which is, we gotta take every original show we have.
I'm here to
my point for why it's like anime of the year. It's original and colorful.
Facts. I'm here to the end. Ride or die.
Ride or die, exactly, Lou. Exactly.
Were you big fans of Azukin?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I actually really like Azukin a lot.
I gave
We're
Azukin a
all
fucking 10 out of 10.
fans.
I think it was the anime of the year that it came out in.
Yeah, definitely was.
Is that about it for Yurei Deco? Or Deco?
Yeah, for the interest of time, we'll speed things up because I don't think we're gonna have too much to say about Extreme Hearts.
Dear God.
Okay, so boring character. She looks kind of like Huey Hirasawa in a different art style, but her personality
CG crowds
is
10
nothing.
seconds in.
Oh God.
It's like hyper sports, yada yada. Don't care. Dropped it halfway through.
They use
Those
extreme
are my,
gear.
Those
so
are
I
my.
guess
That's my notes.
oh,
actually, one more note. They call. All right, in the future, apparently, they call future women's. All right, so they call women's extreme sports Extreme Hearts. That is the worst thing ever. I love it. Okay, that's all I have to say.
The hyper sports are played using extreme gear, so I guess we Sonic Riders now.
Man, I don't know. It's just all I have is like the whole cast is full of girls, so I thought it was like the whole cute girls doing cute things type of thing. Nah, this thing's just shit.
Here's how you can sum up how bad it is in just a few words. It's a sports show. It's like a sci-fi sports show where they use these this special sci-fi gear to like do sports but more extreme.
Yeah.
And the effects are incredibly underwhelming. There's like this run animation that she does.
Bro,
I think
it was
they're
so
either
whack.
playing-
I saw that with the whole like soccer.
Yeah, soccer,
Soccer.
football,
Soccer.
potato, tomato.
Bro.
The run looks so fucking
It was
weak.
whack as hell, bro. I was like, what the fuck is this? It was like,
And in fact, that run animation is what I will play for the on-screen visual for this show, just to prove the point.
meet me on my
that's
way to the
great.
store right now. Running.
All right, and then the last show is Chimimo, where Japanese kid shows go way harder than ours.
This shit slaps.
So
Anime of the year. Anime of the year.
again,
Again?
Anime of
Anime
the
of
year.
the decade.
Let's
Chimimo
go.
sweep.
It's
So-
easy sweeps, better than AOT.
So the first thing I noticed about this show is that they're using animation rigs instead of drawing each frame individually, which is very different from how most anime does it. I think I prefer drawing each frame individually, but I don't mind the rigs so much when the art style of this show actually looks really interesting and unique. Yay!
Yeah, it's most Japanese kid shows, they share a similar aesthetic among themselves, but when you've been watching regular TV anime for years, anything like that looks like this, or even fucking Crayon Shinshan is a breath of fresh air.
To be fair, I do not watch Japanese kids shows, so to me this
You
is
watch
like, the
anime, what do
most
you
unique
mean?
aesthetic. Well, okay.
I was thinking more like
fair.
Pokemon.
I don't know. I didn't really have any thoughts when I was watching this. Actually, I had no thoughts at all. Like my head empty and shit. I just literally just watched the screen. I didn't even read the subtitles. I was just watching what was like happening, like unfolding before me.
It's three sisters, I think, invaded by blob things from hell that are cute and marketable and all have different personalities.
Well, I got
I
that
think-
much from just looking at the screen, but still.
I was really confused by the white blob creatures because it's like, I assume they're made to sell toys or something.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to kick one of the
There's
toys.
plushes of this thing at Sanrio. I have no idea if this is a Sanrio property, probably not, but if they're, I know they sell shit like this at Sanrio stores, so do not be surprised if you see it next to like an Agretzko doll or something.
Honestly, I don't think they're that cute. Like, I know they're trying to win me over and, you know, with like, oh, look how many designs there are. You want to get the rarest variant, the golden.
Yes, I do.
Golden
Yes,
Chimimo.
yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Do you want to put it in a
I
jar?
I want a bunch of them.
In a jar?
Yeah. What? Mental. That is mental. No.
No, you can't. These are too pure. I think we'll wrap up this segment with discussing who your favorite Chimimo was. Mine was Wings.
I kind of like wings too because he can fly.
I don't even remember.
He flies and he breathes fire.
That is dope. That's what I'm saying. I need one.
I don't remember the Chimimo at all, so I can't really answer
Oh,
that.
fake fan.
Oh my god.
I'm not
bro.
even a fan. I dropped it.
This is anime of the year. What do you mean?
See, it has a nice art style, but I mean, like, I'm just not hooked into the story and characters at all. Like, I get, it's very, very bare bones kids show. I don't care. I'm not gonna watch that, even if it does look good.
Don't worry. Your opinion was invalid anyways.
You can't remember what your favorite fucking Chimimo is.
God, Jesus Christ.
Lou, what was your favorite?
He is speechless right now. Holy shit.
He's at a loss for words because there are no words to truly do justice to how perfect Chimimo is.
Exactly.
Hey fellas, Future Neon here. There's just too many shows and we only have so much time, so we're gonna cover the rest in part 2. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it, leave a like if you enjoyed the episode, and head on down to the comments to let us know what you think of the season so far. I'm Neon Manta, and you'll see us next time.